I'd like to call the Vernon Hills Village Board to order. Roll call.
President Byrne?
Here.
Trustee Schultz?
Here.
Trustee Schwartz? Trustee Williams? Trustee Hebda?
Here.
Trustee Cook? Trustee Marquardt?
Here.
All right, we have a quorum within reason, right? Would everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. All right. Are there any citizens that wish to address the board tonight? On any topic other than what's on committee to hold, because it's on committee to hold, then you can address the board at that time. Okay, fine. Next is official reports. Proclamation recognizing Ed Sychta for dedicated service to the Vernon Hills Seniors Organization. Ed, you want to step forward, please?
Yeah.
Cut it out. You're going to have me in tears. I won't keep you long.
I didn't say you have a speaking part, Ed. I'm only kidding. Go ahead, Ed. Out of respect. You got the floor.
I really appreciate it. I'm not an orator. I want you all to know that. You know what I mean. Might have a big mouth and I might be loud, but I'm.
Well, I can relate to you, Ed.
But I really should be honoring the village board. Really, I mean it sincerely, for your support these past 17 years. Thank you for letting me, for these 17 years, to have the pleasure to spend here in my so-called Shangri-La that has fostered so many friendships for me. I have sincerely believed that faith has settled me down in this place, really, because I really sincerely believe that. Bear with me, please. I told you that I wasn't an orator. So if you just bear with me here, let me unpeel this page here. I hope I have served well, knowing that I did it in Vernon Hills, the best community in Lake County. And again, I thank you very kindly, but just a few more minutes. I had something here that I tried to approach the board many, many times before, but I just never seem to get the time. You know, I'm not much of a traveler at night anymore. Doctors said, hey, that's enough. You don't drive nights. But can I just pass this on to you? It was something that I meant for you to hear this before. So at the business beforehand, I would like to express my gratitude for allowing me to use this time to address this body, which has been my wish for some time. I'm sure that the time you spend in this hallowed hall is more precious to your solving village business than any of my non-productive efforts. What urged me to appear before you was triggered by an invitation from the Lake County Department of Transportation to attend a seminar in order to prepare a transportation market analysis for Lake County. At the seminar, I spent 2 hours of lively, informative, and interesting conversation between 13 or 14 smart adults. That doesn't include me. I happened to be the last of these to air my thoughts. I felt dumbfounded to realize the problems that seniors have with intra-county transportation. I sat there for some time realizing, what have I to complain about? I spend my time in Vernon Hills. So may I say that you and your board should take pride in what you have done for your seniors to get them around your village area. With the only one so far, as I know, having a village bus that enables elderly citizens to get to places of business safely and thus improving their late years. You are not a board of people. You're a haven of angels, every one of you. And believe me, I mean that sincerely. So may your experience the same cloaking of protection that you have given us. Thank you very kindly for these 17 years. I really appreciate it.
Ed, you gotta stay there, okay? Can you, all right, that was very eloquent.
No, I mean it.
Well, that was good. You can put a sentence together. You probably still know what a predicate is, right? Okay. With that said, proclamation to Edward Sychta in appreciation for his dedicated service to the Village of Vernon Hills Seniors Organization. Vernon Hills Seniors Organization was established by the corporate authorities in 1995. The organization was formed to assist the village board with serving the interests of the senior citizens of the village by providing advice and recommendations as to the needs, desires, and goals of all senior citizens within the village. Ed Sychta began his term as president of the Vernon Hills Seniors Organization on or about January 1st, 1997. During his term as president, Ed played a pivotal role in the success of the seniors organization, overseeing the growth of its membership and increasing it in activities and events of the organization. Ed was involved in all aspects of the organization and actively participated as liaison between the organization and the village board and staff. His leadership and guidance were paramount in establishing a relationship with Vernon Hills High School and Stevenson High School, which led to many events and activities being held to honor and support the seniors of our community. Under Ed's leadership, the senior organization, through its fundraising efforts, was able to give back to the community through donations to A Safe Place, Lake County Crisis Center, other not-for-profit groups, and charities. He coordinated the move to the new senior center facility in April 2002, which resulted in increased membership and activities that served the seniors in Vernon Hills. This went from the Lashin Center to here, which is where the seniors are still housed in our second floor, which is, you know, I think it's nice. Well, it's not actually a basement, it's a walkout. It's pretty, you know, we designed it so you could see the light of day and go outside, you know, and not fall in the pond, which is important. He coordinated the move to the new senior center in April 2002, which resulted in increased membership and activities that served the seniors in Vernon Hills. Ed Sychta has retired as president of Vernon Hills Senior Organization. His hard work and dedication to village senior organization will be missed. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that I, Roger L. Byrne, and the Board of Trustees do hereby express our sincerest appreciation to Ed Sychta for his years of faithful and dedicated service to the Vernon Hills Senior Organization and the Village of Vernon Hills, dated this 19th day of February 2013, signed by me. Ed, we appreciate you. Well, you know, you did a great job.
And thank you very
So,
kindly.
does anybody want to take a picture of Ed and not me? I'll put the plaque in front of my mush, or, all right, Ed, congratulations. Absolutely. Okay. Oh, here, these guys are going to take a picture.
I need a few more
Yeah.
pictures.
You know these young ladies?
Yes.
Do you know Ed? Are you blood relatives? All right. Is that it? Okay.
Thank you.
All right, Ed.
That's yours.
Yeah. All right, Ed. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's all
very
right,
much.
he's not here.
Thank you. Yours is done. Yours is done.
Huh?
Yours is done.
Yeah, whatever. All right. You know, if you want to stay, you can. If you don't, you can leave. Which wouldn't shock me if you wanted to leave, because after this, it's all going downhill. That's all right. So you'll still be a member. Do we know who the new president might be? We do?
Grace?
Grace. Oh my God. All right. Yeah, I actually know her. Oh yeah, yeah, she's all right. Ah, Grace. Yeah, yeah. Gracie. Okay. All right. Do we have to appoint her?
I think it's,
I don't think we have it set up like that. I think they.
We should bring her in. We should bring her in. I spent multiple New Year's Eves with her. You know.
Okay.
And as we say, the 9-hole, you know, at the municipal golf course. So we're all people who are welcome within reason. So, okay. Next item is appointment of Sue Hoffman, you know, as food vendor direct for the summer celebration committee. Okay, is there a motion to approve Sue Hoffman?
motion to approve?
Second.
Motion is second. And who's her mother-in-law?
The woman you were just referring to that you spend New Year's Eve with.
And what's her last name?
Oh, you would ask me that. Michaels. Grace Michaels.
Grace Michaels. Was there any conflict there at all? Or?
I don't believe so, since her husband is on that committee also.
Okay, okay.
But Grace isn't on
All right,
that.
is there a motion to approve Sue Hoffman?
Yes.
Second.
Yes.
Roll call.
Trustee Schwartz, Trustee Williams, Trustee Hebda. Aye. Trustee Cook. Trustee Markwart,
Aye.
Trustee Schultz.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay. All right, let's go here. Finance Director, Treasurer, Larry Nacron. Budget calendar.
What I'm proposing in terms of the budget schedule this year is that we reserve the Tuesdays, March 5th, 12th, and 19th for discussions, with the idea that by the end of the evening of the 5th, if we feel like we have a manageable chunk left, we cancel the meeting on March 12th. I don't anticipate this to be a very difficult budget, but you know, if issues do arise, then I'd ask that we keep March 12th open.
Okay.
But does that sound reasonable to the board?
Yeah. Is that it, Larry? Or?
Yep, that's it.
Okay. Chief Fleshauer?
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a quick announcement. The Vernon Hills Police Department will be hosting the second annual St. Baldrick's Foundation head shaving event on Saturday, March 9th at 12 p.m. at Westfield Hawthorn Mall. Members of the police department will once again be raising money and shaving their heads for kids with cancer. Last year, the members of the police department, along with their families and friends, raised just over $13,000 for kids with cancer. And this year, our goal is to continue to add to that total. The event this year will be held in front of the Gap and H&M clothing stores in the middle of the mall. Anyone who is interested in being a hero for kids with cancer is invited to join us in our efforts as we try to raise money to fund the life-saving cancer research for these children. So if anyone would like to join us.
What? So, okay, are they taking pledges before?
They're taking pledges. You can find us. There's a link to the St. Baldrick's website from our homepage, and it's also just plain old www.stbaldricks.org. And then you can go to the Vernon Hills Police Department team, and then you can pick individual people to sponsor. So they're taking pledges ahead of time, and then we have surprise head shavings that just sort of pop up at the event when people get caught up in the moment.
People show up?
Well, I think like last year, Rebecca Foy volunteered to have her head shaved, and I think they collected over $1,000 to watch her get her hair
People
shaved.
in the crowd?
People in the crowd.
Okay.
It was quite an event last year. There were probably several hundred people at the event. It was very well attended for short notice.
And it starts at what time?
12 noon in the mall outside of the Gap.
Okay.
You want your haircut, Roger?
And again, that's
No,
Saturday, March
I
9th.
might do it. Oh.
Can I
Okay.
put you down for that?
Are you doing it?
No.
What do you mean, no?
I'm sponsoring it with cash.
Oh, my God.
But you can actually, I'm in, so you can actually go under the website and actually, donate, so I'm doing it.
I have to check with the lady in charge where I live.
All goes back.
Christ, you know,
do.
I'm not gonna
Going
say
along.
anything other than, you know, grow something somewhere on your body. Okay, all right. Now, if I say yes, will you put me on a website or some shit? I mean, some stuff?
Oh, I believe there'll be plenty of notoriety, as I believe we have several members of the press sitting out here today, and I'm sure that'll make it
Roger,
to the
yeah.
newspapers.
All right, I'll do
I'm
it.
already signed up.
What the hell?
Okay,
It grows.
thank you.
Yeah, it'll grow back. All right.
You hope.
I assume, you know, I don't know. I'm losing hair on other parts of my body, but I won't tell you where. So.
TMI.
Okay,
TMI,
what's
TMI,
next?
TMI.
All right, omnibus vote agenda, right? Is there a motion to approve items A through
L, I think it is.
I?
So made.
Second.
It's an,
Oh, A through 8.
it's L.
Oh, is it L?
Yeah,
Yep,
A through
L.
A through L.
Oh, I thought it was I. Okay. Is there a motion to approve A through L?
So made.
Second.
Motion is second. The only one I have a question on is the, who provided the letter of credit form and the new bond form that we're adopting?
The letter of credit and the bond form are in our current ordinance, and between myself and engineer, Director of Public Works Brown and Bob Kenny, we worked on just doing some minor updates on it.
So did anybody else look at it besides you three?
No, other than, like I said, Bob Kenny looked at it.
All right.
Mayor, the form has not changed substantially. What we did do is we upgraded the standards by which the letter of credit is known at. Our code was at a 1974 version of the rules and updated them to what the current standard letter of credit standards are.
So, I mean, who provided that, the language then?
Well, the language it was only changed in a minor way, but I located the most current standards, the UCC 600, and it used to be, I think, UCC, it was from 1974.
Right.
So it's the backup rules that.
So this is the Uniform Commercial Code?
Uniform custom and practice, I forgot exactly what it was called, but the uniform custom practices having specifically to do with letters of credit. It's not the UCC that
So
we're familiar with.
there isn't any prohibitive language in there? You know, that would make it difficult for somebody who's got to post a bond or a letter of credit. And there's nothing, in your opinion, that's
No,
very-
what-
anything punitive, I guess is where I'm coming from.
No, the letter of credit language changed just so that the standards by which the letter of credit's going to be ruled on by the bank is the current standards. But we didn't modify.
So did we drop it from 125% to 110 now?
No.
No, we didn't change any of that.
Oh, it's been 110
It's
for
all
a
the
long
same.
time?
Yeah, we haven't changed any of that.
You know what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
110% of the
We haven't,
improvements?
That was changed some time ago, down to the 110%.
right.
Because it used to be 125
It was.
going
Right.
back in time. Okay. All right. So you don't anticipate any this creating any issues if we have to go
No, I do not at all.
based on,
I think what'll happen.
based on what?
Well, based on what's happened lately is first of all, our code says, specifies the language by which a letter of credit must follow. And it says the same for the bond. In the letter of credit circumstance, any bank issuing a letter of credit wants to use the most current UCP standards, and ours dictates 1974. What I've done is allowed the most current ones to be submitted, and what we're doing is bringing the language in our code
Okay.
up to really what we've been receiving from the banks.
Okay. All right. Is there a motion to approve A through L? Motion is second, roll call.
Trustee Williams? Trustee Hebda?
Aye.
Trustee Cook?
Aye.
Trustee Markwart?
Aye.
Trustee Schultz?
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz?
For the record, I'd vote aye. Motion carries. Okay, unfinished business. Approval of Kemper voucher list of bills dated February 19th, 2013, in the amount of $44,289.93. Is there a motion to approve?
So made.
Second.
Motion is second. Any comments or questions? If none, roll call.
Trustee Hebda?
Aye.
Trustee Cook?
Aye.
Trustee Markwart?
Aye.
Trustee Schultz?
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz? Trustee Williams?
And I'd vote aye. For the record, the motion carries. B, approval of village board minutes of February 5th, 2013. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion is second, roll call.
Trustee Cook?
Aye.
Trustee Markwart?
Aye.
Trustee Schultz?
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz? Trustee Williams? Trustee Hebda?
Aye.
Motion carries. Any new business or communications to come before the board? Okay. Are we going into closed session?
Yes, sir, for personnel, litigation, and threatening.
Okay. All right, is there a motion to adjourn
So
the
made.
village board meeting?
Second.
Motion is second. Roll call.
Trustee Markwart?
Aye.
Trustee Schultz?
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz? Trustee Williams? Trustee Hebda?
Aye.
Trustee Cook?
Aye.
Motion carries. I'd like to call the committee of the whole meeting to order. Is there a motion to approve the committee of the whole minutes of February 5th, 2013?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion is second. Any comments, questions, deletions? If not, roll call.
Trustee Schultz?
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz? Trustee Williams? Trustee Hebda?
Aye.
Trustee Cook?
Aye.
Trustee Markwart?
Aye.
Motion carries. Second item, request from William Johnson, representing Fantasy Amusement Company, to operate an outdoor special event at Westfield Hawthorn Mall, 122 Hawthorne Center.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I can provide a brief summary for you. The event, which would be a carnival, would take place starting Wednesday, May 8th, and would run through Sunday, May 12th. The carnival will be staged in the Sears parking lot, which is generally located on the southeast portion of the mall property. It's the same location where previous carnivals have been located. Customer parking would be provided to the west and would be accessed from Town Line Road. Barricades would be in place to protect pedestrian traffic, and they would obtain a license from the Lake County Health Department in accordance with their requirements. The hours of operation would be Wednesday and Thursday, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., Friday, 6 p.m. to 11 p.m., Saturday, 2 p.m. to 11 p.m., and then finally Sunday, 2 p.m. To 10 p.m. The application, along with the site plan, is attached to your packet. And for tonight's meeting, if the committee feels that the temporary use is appropriate, then staff should be directed to prepare a resolution approving this special event, subject to the conditions that are outlined in your packet. And the applicant is here to answer any questions that you may have.
So Mr. Johnson's here,
Yes,
and you are him?
I'm Mr. Johnson, yes.
You want to state your name then for the record?
William Johnson, president of Fantasy Amusement Company,
Okay. How long have you been in business?
since 1985.
Okay. And who's this?
This is my lovely daughter, Katie DeSwart.
Okay. So you're associated with your dad's company?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. And where exactly, is this going to be located? West of Sears or east of Sears? I mean, east of Sears, basically?
South.
Yeah, east of Sears and also south of Sears.
Same location that they've had it before.
Yeah.
Off of Denny's.
Okay.
What is that? Yeah, that's the southeast parking lot. if I'm
Oh,
correct.
it's close down. So yeah, it's closer to Denny's than.
Yes, correct.
Okay. And this is for 2 days or
5 days.
5 days.
5 days? Okay. All right. So the staff has no open issues with this.
No, we don't. Any issues we have been addressed in the conditions that we outlined in your packet. So provided that they follow those conditions, staff doesn't have any objection.
And Chief, all the background checks will be done and.
They will be done. They have not been yet. We need to have them submit a list of all the employees.
Because
We'll
you
get that done.
A lot of seasonal employees, right?
Correct. We start our season middle of April, so after the middle of April, I will get with the chief and submit that.
Okay.
So.
All right.
The one thing that I didn't have in the packet, what we're doing this year, we're working with local food pantries. So if you have somewhere that you could tell me, check with the local food pantry, we're going to give $1 off on each can that they present for a wristband. So if they present a can for the local food pantry, I could imagine there's a couple local food pantries in Vernon Hills.
Yeah, sure.
Lovely lady. That information.
We can advertise that, so. Okay, and basically you're being underwritten by Westfield?
Yes.
Okay. All right, Trustee Schultz.
Are you going to be that'd be me.
Okay, sorry.
Are you going to be the provider for summer celebration?
No, sir.
Okay.
Not yet.
Okay,
It's
so you are a prospective bidder for that, and we haven't let that contract yet?
Well, the plan is we're going to do a contract for 2013, 1 year extension. For 2013 with Windy City, the current vendor. And then the committee was going to go and to a few carnivals and see how they operate. They're familiar with one that's operated in Libertyville, and they've been to a few others, and then go out with RFPs after that.
Well,
That's
our
the plan.
guests at the spring event, so just get a hold of me. My number's on there, our office, and my daughter is always there if I'm not there. I hope. She's also a substitute teacher, so she is looking for a permanent job. So just make sure that you can tell all the principals.
Hey, you got to try every avenue.
He's getting ready to retire.
Oh,
Hey.
Not this year.
Thank you for your time.
Okay, so we need a motion here.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion is second. Roll call.
Trustee Schwartz, Trustee Williams, Trustee Hebda,
Aye.
Trustee Cook,
Aye.
Trustee Markwart,
Aye.
Trustee Schultz.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Request for an outdoor dining and seating establishment permit for Calzone and Macaroni Company, 260 Hawthorn Village Commons.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This new restaurant will be located adjacent to Dollar Tree in the space formerly occupied by Tagine Casablanca. The proposed dining and seating area would be located on the sidewalk directly in front of the restaurant. There would be just 3 tables with a total seating capacity of 12 people. An 8-foot wide pedestrian access way would be maintained in front of the tables, and the main entrance to the restaurant would remain unobstructed. The application and the detailed plan is attached to your packet. It provides dimensions, so you have more information on that. And for tonight's meeting, if the committee feels that the outdoor dining is appropriate, then staff should be directed to prepare a resolution approving the outdoor dining, subject to the conditions outlined in your packet, and the restaurant owner is here to answer any questions that you may have.
Can you state your name, please, for the record?
Debbie Lindsay.
Okay. And I see we have a light on. Trustee Schultz?
Are you planning to apply for a liquor license?
No, not at this time.
Okay. Okay, are there any, staff have any issues at all with this? Or?
No, in this case, it was pretty, I mean, they only have 3 tables, and
Right.
the sidewalk width is really wide in front of this store, so it was
Right.
pretty easy to lay it out. Plenty of access way for customers, and staff has no objection to the request.
Okay. And you plan on opening when?
Well, we're hoping April 1st, you know, if everything goes well. If not, May
Okay.
1st.
All right. All right, is there a motion to approve outdoor dining and seating permit for Calzone and Macaroni Company, 260 Hawthorn Village Commons?
So made.
Second.
Motion is second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Williams, Trustee Hebda,
Aye.
Trustee Cook,
Aye.
Trustee Markwart,
Aye.
Trustee Schultz,
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz.
Motion carries.
Great, thank
Okay.
you.
Request from the Tilted Kilt to operate an outdoor special event for 447 North Milwaukee Avenue, which is, I assume, St. Patrick's Day.
Same last.
Okay.
Good guess.
Well, you did that last year, right?
Yep.
Okay, and you want to state your name, please, for the record?
Chris Gocius.
What is it?
Chris Gocius.
Okay. All right, and is this any different than last year's, or?
It is different than last year's in that we're looking to add a day, and our entertainment changed this year to where the act is a little bigger. We're doing Seventh Heaven on Friday, which is a pretty big act, and then Infinity, which is a Journey tribute, is going to be the headliner on Saturday. Outside of that, the only other change is that food service will only be provided inside to order out. The grill just created some problems last year, and we're just not going to do it in the parking lot. Outside of that, everything else stays the same.
How big is the tent?
40 by 80.
Okay. Staff, what does staff think about this one?
Well, one of the things, looking at the site plan, you'll see that the fence will be located, which was something that we required last year. Staff supports that. Otherwise, it is, except for the entertainment, it is pretty much the same for what we saw last year. The tent is in primarily the same location. They'll have extra porta potties on site. They did get a letter and approval from Marketplace to use their parking lot for additional parking and such. So they've addressed staff's concerns, and they're indicated as part of the conditions that we're recommending. Other than that, we have no objection.
What do you think, Chief?
Chief, last year?
Last year, there were no problems, and I think as part of the conditions this year, they're also planning on having our officers there on scene, on site the whole time, or in the evening when the entertainment is there,
Are they
which is
helping to
consistent.
underwrite that?
Yeah.
Are they?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, we
Oh,
did
no,
last year,
absolutely.
we will this year as well, sure.
Yeah, okay.
And there were no problems last year at all.
But basically, that section of the road is closed.
Right.
Right. Okay.
And now they have, they added the fence that Mike Atkinson mentioned that we requested them to put up last year. That's been added as part of the site plan this year, just so we keep wandering to a minimum.
No Jersey walls?
No.
Okay. All right. Any other comments? Trustee Schultz?
Are you going to charge again to get into the tent during the day?
During the day, no.
Okay, you
Really
did last year,
recognize it
though.
as a mistake last year, yeah. So this year, there'll be no charges during the day, only at night for the entertainment.
Wise move. Good job.
Okay. All right. Any other comments or questions from the board? Is there a motion to approve the request for the Tilted Kilt to operate an outdoor special event at 4447 North Milwaukee Avenue, the 15th, 16th, and 17th of March 2013?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion is second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Hebda?
Aye.
Trustee Cook?
Aye.
Trustee Markwart?
Aye.
Trustee Schultz?
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz? Trustee Williams?
Motion carries.
Thanks, guys. And bagpipers are at noon this year on Friday to start.
Is that the last time you're gonna have them?
No, no,
You're gonna do them on St. Patrick's Day, aren't you? Okay.
I'm game.
You know that St. Patrick's Day is Sunday, right? Yep. Okay, just a quick quiz. Oh. All right, okay, all right. What's next? Vernon Hills Park District Maintenance Building, presentation of concept plans related to proposed maintenance building in Century Park.
Thank you, Your Honor. Representatives are here tonight from the Park District and the Hesner Corporation to present their concept plans for the proposed maintenance building to be located at the north end of Century Park. As you will recall, the board has previously granted a license to operate within that area to allow for some clearing of vegetation that allowed some of the planning to go on with regards to the structure. The proposed building is located on a 2-acre site and will be approximately 12,600 square feet in size, be about 24 feet tall, and be used primarily for their maintenance functions and the storing of equipment and vehicles. Tonight, they're asking your direction with regards to this building and location. In addition, as you suggested back in December of 2012, we were also advised to move forward to enter into a long-term ground lease for the portion of property that you'll see tonight that would allow the building to be constructed and operated on the property for a very long-term basis. Again, once the technical review process is completed, we'll work with the village attorney and their attorney to draft this ground lease. The committee feels that the use and design are appropriate. The district should be directed to begin the technical review process and appear before the Planning and Zoning Commission for consideration of the following: rezoning of the property to PIB district, the granting of a special use permit to allow a public building along with certain setback variations, and approval of the site and landscaping plans along with the building elevations for the building itself. And with that, I'll turn it over to the Park District.
John, you're sure before they start, we're never going to build a road on that 120-foot strip that was supposed to be a road to start with?
I doubt it.
Yeah.
I doubt it.
Yeah, me too. Just want to make sure, though.
Hi, good evening. I'm Cindy Kessler.
And I'm Scott Hesner, and we're here representing the Park District this evening, and we're going to show just a few images of what we've got thus far as the building itself, where it's located, and we're here to answer questions that you may have. Currently, this is the project itself is positioning itself north of the sledding hill and just south of the E&J Railroad, or the Canadian National Railroad. As John said, the site itself is approximately 2 acres, and the building is approximately 12,644 square feet. We are planning on parking 23 cars to the east and using the service yard to the west. There will be 2 separate entry drives, one for the parking surface and one for the service yard. Vehicles for the Park District will be able to circulate through the building. They won't have to circulate around it. And we have been working already with the engineering department of the village to properly distribute stormwater so that we're taking care of we're being conscious of the way water's leaving the site and entering into Big Bear Lake. Currently, this is a enlarged view of how the cars can park for the pavilion and how the cars can park for the maintenance facility. Our landscape plan to date is showing major landscaping along the south elevation of the building and the south side of the site. We are anticipating installing several very mature trees, 6-inch caliper trees, so that the building itself being 24 feet tall, you'll see in the renderings that it really isn't a mistake. Some of those trees could be 24 feet tall as they're installed and take shape after about a year. There will be many planting beds in front of the building and offering a variation of color and texture and not totally cloaking the building, but enhancing the building elevation. Another thing that's going to be of great benefit is as the rain garden is developed in front, in the swale in front, there's going to be more native plants, wilder plants that will be in that swale, and it'll offer a transition from landscaping in more of a native, wilder version to a more controlled, contoured version, and then the building itself. This is a group of elevations without any landscaping being shown. We have a precast structure. The precast panels are approximately 10 foot wide by 24 foot tall. There's windows along the southerly elevation, and we're trying at this time to get as many windows as we can in our budget so that we can get light into the facility itself. You can see that the garage doors are fairly large. They're 14 foot tall by 24 feet wide. So even a semi is going to be able to drive through this facility. We're trying to work with colors that are in keeping with the pavilion. We're working with the same green color that's on the pavilion, the brown, and we're working with the hip roof of the office component of this building that's to match the pavilion, along with the beacle stone, the light-colored beacle stone. And then
So what do the views look like from, you know, the apartments or
as we're going
folks living in the New Century Town single family?
This is a view as we're coming up Indianwood. We are in front of the parking lot.
What view am I looking at? I mean, on the screen?
Yeah, you're on the street.
Oh, this rendering of.
Yes, the rendering. You're approaching the building from the southwest here, and you are, in essence, just off of the street in front of the parking lot for Willow Century.
What's the proximity to the closest single-family home?
The closest proximity to a closest single-family home?
Yeah.
Can I guess?
No, I don't, you know.
The closest single-family home could be in Greg's Landing.
Really?
Yeah,
How
on the other
many-
side of the
I mean,
tracks.
how many feet is it?
I'm thinking 1,000.
And then how about the New Century Town stuff?
The condominiums there, it's probably about 250, 300
Right.
feet.
And then the single families?
Boy, again, 800 feet, 800 feet down the way from the building. From the property line, probably closer to 500.
Okay.
500 from the condo?
To the single family.
Yeah, the ones at the end of.
Right, at the end of
At the end of the
Indianwood.
drive there, yeah.
Right,
Yeah, I'll buy that, yeah.
right. Yeah, you know, it's quite a distance. And what is in your packet and not necessarily in this slideshow is we've looked at all angles, visual angles, and we're not, in the summertime, we're not going to be able to see any of the houses in Greg's Landing. We'll be able to see some of the maintenance building for White Deer Run. The condominiums are definitely the closest residences to the project, and really, the houses down the way may not be able to see this building. To the west.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it kind of looks from the shot that you provided us that there's only going to be one house that'll be able to see it. The other is kind of cut off by, maybe two houses will see it.
Right.
Okay, what is the fire department got any open issues as far as access to the back of the building or anything, or is there
Well-
gonna be service road all the way around the place?
We haven't been to technical review yet,
Yeah.
but we're anticipating that this is going to be fully accessible from 3 elevations, and there have been other projects similar to this that have gone forward with access to 3 elevations.
So is it gonna, what's the distance to the tracks then?
The distance to the railroad tracks is going to be maybe 48 feet, 50 feet.
Okay. Will you, like, grasscrete that?
Well, we only have access to about 8 feet of that behind this building.
Because of the railroad right away?
Because of the railroad right away, correct. We can't even get on that property to properly survey the site for boundary without flaggers.
Okay. And you're not concerned about vibrations?
No.
From the trains? Even if they double track it?
I don't.
I'm just asking.
Yeah, I don't believe they're going to double track that railroad there specifically, but even if they did, no, I think the distance.
Well, they're supposed to, but, you know.
The distance
At
is
some
still
point in time, but-
accommodated.
Okay. Any comments or questions from the board on this? Is there a motion to approve?
So made. Second.
Well, just to clarify the motion, this would be to
go
move on to technical review and then on to the
Yeah.
plan commission and come back to you guys.
Okay.
Right.
Well, yeah, all right, fine.
Do we need councils?
Trustee Hebda.
I just want to make sure that the residents in those condos, as we go to this, that we make sure that that's landscaped appropriately for those individuals, because they're looking out onto that building. So I appreciate all the designs you brought forward, but to make sure that we're conscious of that as we look at technical review.
And to reinforce that, we've reached out to both the Willow Center or Center Willow Commons or whatever they're called. We've reached out to them as well as the Greg's Landing North HOA. We're going to meet with them to find out if they have any concerns whatsoever before we go to Plan Commission.
Great, thank you.
Okay, so is there a motion to approve to send us to technical review and so on and so forth?
So made.
Motion is second. One final comment. I know at least, one member of your firm that's here tonight, being you, will be sensitive to the aesthetics and the foliage that's provided there.
Absolutely.
Hence, because you live in town.
Correct.
Hence, and the other guy doesn't.
We'll make sure that we work together.
All right, roll call.
Trustee Cook?
Aye.
Trustee Markwart?
Aye.
Trustee Schultz?
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz? Trustee Williams? Trustee Hebda?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Park District thanks you, and we thank you.
Cindy, you want to say anything else?
No,
or?
thank you very much.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right, that next is Hawthorn. Right?
Yep.
Westfield Mall.
Miss Barb is here.
Consideration of a report and recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Commission regarding a request for various approvals related to special use permit for a PUD, variations in service of alcohol and site and landscaping and building elevation approvals, subject to certain conditions for property generally located at the northwest corner of Milwaukee Avenue and Route 21 and Town Line Road, known as Westfield Hawthorn Shopping Center.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I don't want to get too sparky about this because we're into the 10th year, right?
Yes. No, but who's
Since
counting?
the original plan, yeah.
Thank you, Your Honor. Westfield and their team, along with representatives from AMC and Dave & Buster's, appeared before the Planning and Zoning Commission at its January 13th meeting to request a series of approvals, and you can see those items in your packet primarily a number of special use permits regarding plan unit development, approval of the building elevations, landscape plans, approval of special use permits to allow for a movie theater with alcohol service, restaurants with alcohol service, restaurant with alcohol service, and along with an arcade containing up to 200 electronic games, and then preliminary and final site, landscaping, architectural, and signage approvals.
How you doing?
Overall, and you've seen this plan, the Plan Commission has seen this plan on several occasions, and the Plan Commission overall expressed support for the project as proposed, and pursuant to the memo that's in your packet from myself to the board and the mayor, dated February 14th, the motions that are set forth in my packet were as follows. The Commission voted unanimously to recommend approval of the special use permit for the plan unit development for that portion of the property, excluding the 4 anchor tenant properties, to allow A, expansion and remodeling of the existing commercial building commonly known as Westfield Hawthorn Shopping Mall, and B, variations related to building, parking, signage as listed in Exhibit A of your packet, as set forth also in the Hawthorn entitlement package dated 12/12/12, and the recognition of a blended parking ratio, regardless of type of use, of a 5.0 parking spaces per 1,000 square feet of general leasable area for the inline shopping mall owned by Westfield and the 4 anchor stores. The motion, as I said, carried 5-0, was subject to the conditions of approval which are set forth in your packet as Exhibit B. The Commission then voted to recommend 3 in favor, 2 against for a special use permit to allow an entertainment use, being the movie theater, along with alcohol service within the theater lobby and each theater, along with food service within the individual theaters, all occurring within the building addition at the northeast section of the shopping mall and subject to the conditions of approval. The third vote was a unanimous vote by the Commission to recommend approval of the special use permit to allow restaurants serving alcoholic beverages in various locations within the subject property, being on pages 18 through 20 of the entitlement package, and again subject to the conditions of approval. Fourth, the Commission voted unanimously to recommend approval of the special use permit to allow a restaurant serving alcoholic beverage and containing an arcade with up to 200 electronic games or amusement devices for the proposed Dave & Buster's location as set forth on pages 10, 10A, and 11 of the entitlement package, and again subject to the conditions of approval. The fifth item was unanimous recommendation for preliminary and final site and landscaping plan approvals, subject to, again, the conditions of approval. The sixth vote was a unanimous recommendation for preliminary and final approval of the architectural elevations and exterior finishes, consistent with the plan set forth in the entitlement package, along with subject to the conditions of approval. The seventh vote was a vote of 4 in favor, 1 against, to recommend preliminary and final approval of the signage package, again consistent with the entitlement package, but excluding the site media panel sign, which was voted on separately. This motion was subject to the conditions of approval. The eighth vote was a vote 0 in favor, 5 against, to recommend preliminary and final approvals of the signage plan for the site media pylon signs, being SP1. The motion failed. This is the 48-foot sign with the LED panel on it, or signs, I should say. The ninth vote was the Commission voting 0 members in favor, 5 against, to recommend preliminary and final approval of off-premise advertising on the site media panel signs, again being SP1. This motion failed. And then finally, the Commission voted 1 member in favor, 4 against, to recommend preliminary and final approval of off-premise advertising on the static media panel signs H2 and H3, H21 and H22. That motion failed. These signs are located on the exterior walls of the theater and also the southwest and northwest mall entrances. Again, your packet has Exhibit A, which is a list of the recommended variations, not only for building locations and height requirements, along with the variation from Chapter 11 to allow for up to 200 amusement devices, and this is related to the Dave & Buster's restaurant, and also allowing food service and within the entertainment use being the theater. It also contained the recommended sign variations throughout the entire site, including on the building and the perimeter wayfinding signs, again, consistent with your packet. And then Exhibit B was the conditions of approval, the conditions being compliance with the plans as set forth in the entitlement package, again, dated 12/12/12, and then the 14 conditions of approval that were also included in your as a part of this recommendation and in this exhibit. I think they're, again, pretty self-explanatory. Tonight you have representatives from Westfield, AMC Theater, and Dave & Buster's who are here tonight who can answer any questions. I know the folks from AMC Theater, George Patterson, who's the Senior Vice President of Food and Beverage, has, along with their attorney, has provided a written explanation to some questions that were raised by the Plan Commission at their meeting. And he can talk to you about the operation of the theater itself and answer any questions that you may have with regards to how they handle alcohol service and food service within the theater. So with that, I can answer any questions. I know Hide is here, Hide Kashima is here tonight. And his team are here. Hide's chomping at the bit to get to the microphone.
So we don't have Ron Herman here
No, no,
from AMC?
no, sir. Actually, we have a better person here from AMC.
Really?
tonight. Yes,
Well,
sir.
I wouldn't, I mean, never met either one of these gentlemen. Why would I jump to that conclusion?
Well, I would because I was at the meeting and Mr. Patterson is here tonight to answer a
And
number
who
of
is he?
questions.
Right here.
He's right
Great.
there.
He's coming up, okay.
I'm George Patterson. I'm already suffering from high expectations, so I'm
Okay.
privileged to be here.
Are you bilingual?
No.
Okay, that's good. All right. I'm only kidding. You know. Sir, are we dangerously close to pulling the trigger on this? AMC person?
From our end, absolutely, yes.
All right. Is Showplace going to stay open?
We haven't made that decision yet. We do own the property, which gives us lots of flexibility whenever we make that decision.
Okay, so that's not an issue anymore?
No.
Well, that's good.
Well, there's a couple ways to answer that. We have this, what is occurring here is not unique to the industry. There's consolidation going on, and there's a lot of old assets, and every time we take a look at a new or refurbished asset, we also take a look at the old asset. We look at it for how much longer are you going to be there, landlord considerations, and so on, and the community as well.
Do you guys own that building there?
We own land in the building, yes.
Oh,
Yes,
you
we do.
Okay. So Carasotis is long
They're
gone?
gone.
Okay. All right. Okay.
You want me? Why? I'll be more. You want me to take you through the?
Yeah.
This will
Yeah.
probably answer a lot of questions and may spur a few more. So here we go.
My heart's kind of going still. I never saw anybody from AMC before.
Well, here we go.
You know.
Real quick. Like I said, my name is George Patterson, and I've been with AMC about 3 years. My career has been in the food and beverage business, primarily with restaurants. So that is my primary background. So what you're going to see tonight is going to be driven primarily by food and beverage and the questions that were asked previously. All right, here we go. Oops, wrong way. Can't use it. This one? Okay. All right. What I'll take you through is a little bit of history real quick. I grew up in an industry, grew up in a business that left a long time ago. We all remember 35 millimeters, a very simple food menu. Megaplexes when there were 6,000 and 7,000 seats. Those seats were very uncomfortable. They were fixed. And unfortunately, today, there are many of our theaters out there across the country. But one of the things we would like to be able to do is change that in your community. The concession stands were very one-dimensional. You had candy, you had popcorn, and you had soft drinks, and that was pretty much it. The new version, the looking forward, is really all of the experience is going to be 3D or digital. Now, what the 3D and digital component allows you to do is basically hold meetings such as what we have in here. You can bring your own show. You can do a lot of different things very much like you do at home. The menus have expanded considerably, and I'll talk about that in a second. Stadium seating is still around, but it's in a much more softer, more of a feel look. The marketplace, I'll take you through that in a second, which is the way we deliver a more expanded food and menu. The stadiums and the auditoriums are getting much smaller. We are no longer putting 500 seats in many of those auditoriums. We are going with half, if not less than that, to make it more intimate and feel better to you. And finally, probably the biggest advantage and the biggest change in the last 2 to 3 years has been luxury recliners, very similar to those of you who may have what is eloquently known as a man cave at home, where you can sit and watch sports, and it's your space, and it's very, very comfortable, but we have now introduced that into the industry in a very robust way. Why are we doing all this? It's real simple. The guest expects more, and we have to do this to remain relevant. Our relationship with the studios is like no other. For those of y'all who've ever had a business where you have to pay a royalty, a traditional royalty rate might be somewhere in that 4 to 10% range. We pay the studio somewhere around 55 cents on the dollar. So we make our money based on the experience, the food and beverage, and the things that support that. What I have in front of you, these probably aren't the best pictures, but I think it gives you a sense for where this business is heading. And if you look at the very, very bottom, you're going to see some old gray seats, and then you look, I guess it would be to your left, my right, and you're taking a look at what those luxury recliners might be. The big difference here is that the seats on my right, your left, are old, uncomfortable, not exactly what you want to do when you want to go to the movies, and what is on my right, your left, is something that is very, very comfortable. And where we have done this around the country, we have seen in some cases 100% growth in attendance just by replacing seats. I mean, I know for those of y'all who've been in this business or have been going to theaters for many years, why didn't they think about this sooner? Sometimes you're late, right? But we're on the leading edge of this, and what you see above it is sort of a sense and a feel of what the auditoriums might look like, a marketplace, also the MacGuffin's Bar, which we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about this evening. But bottom line is we're trying to change the experience. All of our new theaters look like this. It's very rare for a community to get a new theater. These don't pop up very often. I think the last one that we did is actually in Chicago, in Mount Prospect was the very last one we did. So we're still in Chicago. The marketplace, where we offer much more of an expanded food menu. I kind of let you take a look at that's kind of wordy. But the bottom line is you have the opportunity to get a lot more offers. It's no longer just candy and soft drinks and popcorn. If you do get soft drinks, you're going to be able to get just about any flavor you want via the Coke Freestyle machines that we have. They can produce up to 120 flavors through a self-serve mechanism. We've also upgraded our pizza product, and we're using a company here many of y'all know is Connie's Pizza to do all of our pizza around the country now. We've had a great relationship with Mark Stolfi and his family the last few years to develop these pizza products. But in essence, what you're getting is a much broader, expanded food menu. This is not a dine-in theater. There is a difference. AMC does own and operate 11 dine-in theaters around the country. This sits somewhere between a traditional theater and a dine-in theater business. You still have all the snack alternatives. You're still going to have some candy. You're still going to have popcorn. You're still going to have those favorites. But the bottom line is it's a much different experience. You actually navigate this marketplace yourself, similar to what you might do at an airport or a convenience stand. You're not going to go up to somebody standing up at a counter and they're going to take your order, they're going to go fill it, and they're going to bring it back to you. You have the ability to navigate the space yourself.
Do you have healthy alternatives?
Excuse me?
Do you have healthy alternatives?
We will have healthy alternatives. Matter of fact, it's a great question. We are introducing fresh juice to 3 locations next week, where you're probably not familiar with what a ZoomX machine is. I won't bore you with it, but it basically takes the full orange or the full grapefruit or the full apple, you dump it in and it smashes, and out comes juice on the other. We're going to actually introduce that to 3 locations. So I would suspect by the time we open here. Hopefully in November of 2014, we would have that perfected by then. But we get lots of requests for fresh juices. And I was born and raised in Florida, so I appreciate fresh orange juice. Let's talk about alcohol. Why alcohol? Why MacGuffins? Over the last really 25 years, the adult consumer, the adult guest, has found many reasons to not go to a movie theater. One could be the bad movies. They're not maybe as good as they used to be. Number two could be the seats. Number three could be maybe the experience isn't exactly what they would like. A lot of people like to maybe go out and have a glass of wine before they go to a movie. Some people like to have a glass of wine during a movie. And this trend is taken on around the country. We have 40 venues today that are serving alcohol around the country. 11 of those are dine-in theaters, but we have a number that are just a basic MacGuffins bar in the lobby. It is a small bar. It's not a big bar designed for people to spend hours on end watching sports events and the like. The idea is when you come to the movie, you come a few minutes early, maybe go out, grab a glass of wine or get a beer and go sit down and watch the movie.
So you're looking strictly at a beer and wine license?
No, we're looking for full alcohol, mixed drinks and everything. Our mix for alcohol is about 20% wine, 40% beer, and 40% mixed drinks. And that mixed drink number also includes specialty drinks. We have we sort of have a dictionary of drinks that are designed for movies and that kind of thing, a Green Lantern or a Man of Steel or something like that. They're all pre-done. In a sense, they already have recipes and the like. But the idea for this is to allow us to expand into other venues. For years and years, we were getting requests for the Metropolitan Opera, and we've put the opera in a number of locations, and what that guest typically likes is a glass of wine to go watch the opera. So there's a lot of ways to do this. We hold by going digital and by putting a small bar in there. It's a lot of times it's easier to hold business meetings for folks where they want to come in and have a meeting, show business results, and then maybe afterwards have a glass of wine and talk about it. We have the ability to do that. We do serve alcohol at downtown Disney, which is probably one of the more family-friendly environments you could think of. We also have it at Universal Studios as well. And all of our new builds that we are either have built or contemplating building, we are requesting an alcohol license as well. Probably by June, we will be serving alcohol in 50 locations. We have 8 that I believe is in the information that we provided you that are very or at different stages of being completed up to the point of them being inspected. We anticipate averaging about 25 locations adding alcohol over the next 2 to 3 years. How do we manage alcohol? And I'm sure there'll be some questions from this, but I will give you a sort of our high-level experience with it. This wasn't built overnight. Well, we've been in the alcohol business almost 20 years. But we use best practices, and we use a lot of what we call common regulatory practices. We will reach out to local authorities, the chief of police, and we will typically work with staff to make sure that we are meeting your needs and that we are meeting the community's needs when it comes to regulatory practices. But in essence, what we have is a policy that is what I call zero tolerance. It's probably the best way to describe it. All of our employees will be required to go through alcohol or tips training. In a traditional theater today, that would not be the case, but once we add alcohol, everybody will be required to go to training. Our zero tolerance policy is not only for us, it's for our guests, and it's for the protection of both. We card everybody. Everybody that comes to a MacGuffins will be carded, regardless of age or how young you look or how old you look. You will be carded. And if we need to do it a second time, because we think maybe you either slipped through or somebody passed you a drink that shouldn't have been, we will card you again. We have standard recipes. In other words, we're not allowing the bartenders to just keep pouring and pouring. They have to use a jigger, or they have to use some type of mechanism to monitor and to manage the alcohol, and most importantly, to pour the drinks. All of our training policies and procedures and recipes have been developed by the International School of Bartenders. We've used them from the very, very beginning, and we keep bringing them back to help us to make sure we're doing the right thing. Our Our cups that we use will be of a plastic nature. They do not look like the large 51, the 44, and the 32 ounce cups that we use today. They're very distinguishable from everything else that we do, but they're very standard. They're very standard pours. They're not large like you would go to maybe a Cubs game or a White Sox game and have a 51 ounce beer. We don't do that. Our beer is in 16 ounces or in 32 ounces. We have mystery shoppers in all of our locations that have alcohol. They are constantly going to be in our theaters, and where we do alcohol, we actually increase the number of mystery shoppers that we have, making sure we're compliant against our own procedures. Like I said before, we will partner with regulatory agencies to make sure that we're doing things appropriately. We also have an 800 number where guests can call in if they've seen abuse or they have particular time when something occurred. We can also get that information. And in our bars, we will also have a camera in the bar area, and sometimes 2 or 3 depending on where the bar is placed in the lobby. Above you is, or in front of you, I guess, would be, these are different versions of what a MacGuffins would look like. As you can see, they're fairly small. They'll have somewhere between 6 and 12 seats, depending on the size of the area. You can see Randhurst, which is not too far from here, and then the other 2. There is age-restrictive signage around these bars to let people know that if you come in there, you must be over the age of 21. If you're not over 21 and you're with a parent, you must be accompanied by that parent.
And can you take it into the theater or not?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you can.
Then you can take, what, 1 drink?
You can take 1 drink. It's one drink per person over the age
But if
of
the
20.
movie's real bad, you can sit at the bar and watch the game?
You could sit at the bar and watch the game. Yes, you can.
In case this thing really takes the gas pipe.
And it happens.
Yeah.
It does happen,
Yeah.
unfortunately. Matter of fact, it's happened the last couple of weeks.
That's nice, but I'm more concerned about the person that takes the
Right.
alcohol into the theater.
Right.
It's like, oh, here, Johnny. Johnny's not 21.
Right.
So I'm very concerned.
Yeah, well, and I'll be perfectly honest with you. There's a couple ways to talk about that.
I'm sure that man over there doesn't like the idea either.
But that's, and we agree with the concern, and I'll start with number 1. For somebody to do that, that's illegal. That's number 1, and that is part of our age-restrictive signage. And I know I've got my teenagers are grown. I understand that. That's number 1. Number 2 is our people are trained to look for that. I mean, that's one of the things they're supposed to look for.
I'm sure they are, but that's not going to eliminate it from happening.
Well, and part of the challenge that we have in our business is many times people are overserved before they ever come to see us. They've had too much to drink somewhere else. If we serve them, we're the ones who are responsible for that because we understand the license is a privilege. If somebody's overserved and they act up in our auditorium, in our theater, we're still responsible for them because they're in our building. If we serve them, we're still responsible for them, but we also have a zero tolerance policy too. We can take care of not only the employee, we can take care of the manager, and we can take care of the guest.
Well, I mean, along those lines, let's be,
Right.
we're going to have stings.
To put it in their vernacular, we have a great mystery shopper program too.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
I mean, it's not like we haven't done stings even on our own facilities. Correct?
That is correct.
Right. So it will help you, trust me.
We appreciate that, and I will give you a great. I think what you said is wonderful. We've had 1 sting in all the years we've been serving alcohol, and we got caught. We got caught because somebody didn't card, not because of your concern, but because somebody didn't card that they were supposed to do. We did 2 things. We did 2 things from that. Number 1 is we changed our procedure because if you looked under the age of 40, we didn't card you. So we changed and said now we card everybody. The second thing we did is we made sure every bartender that is in an AMC uniform has to be over the age of 21 because there are many municipalities around the country and states that you can be a bartender at 18. So we upped it to 21 and we changed our procedures to do that. So
Right.
We understand. We really do.
Yeah, and you know, this kind of, I mean, it's a new exposure within reason, but you know, how do you how do you deal with your patrons at let's just say Showplace right now, or any of the theaters that you do own that don't have alcohol served, and you know, some people just bring in their own beverages, so.
They do.
You know.
They do. We
hey,
understand.
she's pregnant. What are you going to do?
Right.
Right? You're not going to put her through an x-ray machine, right?
No.
Okay. I digress. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. But they're good questions, and like I said, we try to we catch as much of it as we can. Everything is locked all the time, every night, and then wherever we do have storage, we do have cameras to make sure that there's no abuse to that.
Okay.
Question comes up: where is the where is the MacGuffins and where is the marketplace? It will actually be up on the, I guess it would be quote our third floor. I mean your third floor, our second floor. You can see where the green is the green is the bar and the red is where the new marketplace or concession stand are going to be up where the auditoriums
I mean, so is this actually ground level from the parking lot? You walk in and bang it.
No, this will actually be on. This is actually the third level for them, second level for us.
So, okay, so you got to go. You can't enter or exit into a parking lot. Right.
No. Actually, you go up you see the escalator there. That's where you'll go up to the third floor, which is what I'm showing you. Right below there on the second floor, which they can provide you, is where the actual box office and the auxiliary box office will be. So you will have to go up after you get your ticket. You will have to go up a set of stairs.
So on the second floor, you're at ground level.
No.
No. Well, you got to have parking lot is at what level?
Second level. Well, in the mall, it's second level, but it's grade, yeah.
Well, I mean, you can walk outside and there's Penny's and there's, you know, Sears and there's the entrance to the old McCarthy's and that, right? Okay. You know,
right above that.
Yeah. I didn't think you were doing a lot of landfill, you know.
No.
Okay.
So you will be able, once you go up the escalator, to go outside?
No, go down.
Go down.
I'm sorry, go down the escalator.
Yeah.
Okay,
yes.
Gotcha.
George, what are the hours that alcohol will be served?
It has a tendency to vary based on the hours that the particular theater is open. I mean, we, as a rule of thumb, a bar might open at 3 to 4 in the afternoon, and maybe 2 o'clock on a Saturday or something like that, and then would be open maybe till, in general, like midnight or something like. I mean, is a ballpark. Yeah. Like I said, it does vary a little bit based on municipality.
Hey, you know, I mean, kind of to cut to the chase here, what's the only thing that's really open here? Is it the signs? You know what I mean?
Yes.
I mean,
Right.
Is it, you know? I mean, I'll take any comments or questions from the board on this, but you know,
just a couple of things, Your Honor. With regards to the theater and with regards to Dave & Buster's, we're going to be working on new liquor licenses.
Yeah.
So there's some uniqueness to both of those items that we're going to have to bring back to you, and there'll be some conditions of operations and those types of things that you'll be seeing in the very near future. With Dave & Buster's, we're going to be working with them on the proprietary license. We have a limited number in the village code, and we're still researching to make sure to see if we have to expand that.
Right.
And the like. So the only other thing is the discussion with regards to the 48-foot signs. So.
Does anybody want to comment on anything before we get to the signage?
I have a question.
Trustee Cook.
Help me visualize this with the restaurants, the movie theater, and about how this, because as I'm looking at them, they overlay the same. The restaurants are going to look at what?
On the north side of the mall, at grade is the restaurant. So the new restaurants will be at the level of parking.
Okay,
And then the theater's right above that. So there's an
that's
escalator.
what I thought. So
Yeah.
you don't come out of the theater at ground level.
No, you do not.
No.
No, you have to go down the
That's what you
escalator.
said just a minute ago. That's what confused me. Never
Oh.
mind. I thought I had it right. Yeah, I thought I heard it. You're going into the restaurants, then the theater level, then the bar is actually a third level.
The restaurants and the cinema share the same footprint. So effectively, at grade, which is level 2, you'll have restaurants.
Yes.
You come in,
There's
you go
only
up
two
the escalator.
levels, but they're
to the
calling
theater.
the first level the second level.
So
That's what it
let-
boils
let's
down
call
to.
it.
But you're not going to walk out of the theater to the parking lot.
I understand that.
Let's simplify.
But there's, when you're standing in the parking lot, there's one level above it, or is there two levels?
There is 2 levels. At grade will be the restaurants. Let's take the first,
Right,
the second,
okay.
third out of it.
There's not gonna be 3 stories,
No.
3
there'll-
different floors.
Correct. There'll be 2 levels in this
Right.
particular area.
Except
at
you're
grade.
calling the upper level the third level because the first level's like down and away.
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah, okay, great. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So the MacGuffins and that is all on the same level as all the theater.
All the theaters, right.
But nothing from the theater will exit to ground level. You have to come down an escalator to get there.
Correct.
Okay.
Right here.
That's what I thought.
So you're trapped in there.
Yes.
Basically.
No, I mean, how many exits are there up there
Um,
for an emergency standpoint?
Emergency exits, all the corridors here.
What's
3
that?
main ones. 3 main
And
emergency
there's
exits.
an elevator.
Elevators right down here. We got one right here.
How many you got?
1 at the moment. Is there another one? Freight? There's a freight elevator right there too.
Get on the freight elevator.
There is really one point of ingress or access to the level where alcohol is being served into the theater level, and that's up the escalators. The gentleman to my left would be very upset with us if we didn't have a few ways to get out.
Right.
So there are 3 means of egress to get you down in the event.
Stairways and elevators?
Only stair,
Only get up there by the escalator?
escalator and the elevator. There is 1 passenger elevator and 1 freight elevator.
Okay. But if there's a fire, I mean, you wouldn't even be able to use the elevator.
Correct. We would.
Right.
Everyone would disperse through the fire egress stairs and immediately out the building.
So there's 3 in addition to the
So who's
escalator.
gonna
Correct.
carry me?
So there's 4
That's true anyway.
4 kind of staircases. Escalators, and then 3 separate staircases.
There's
Correct.
4, in addition to the escalators, there's 4 required exit stairways that are fire rated.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right, is that true? I mean,
that's what's shown on the plan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. Actually, I'm
well,
sorry.
these guys are presenting, they should notice. So you're telling me you got the escalators and then 4 manual stairs, just like outside this room to go downstairs
correct.
and come up?
Yes.
Okay, then there's 5.
They're actually dispersed.
And if you both, and the escalators are up and down, right? So then you got really,
2 ways to get
That's
you can,
correct.
you can shut them off and you can just walk down the
Yeah,
thing,
that's,
right?
that's correct. In fact,
Yeah.
per the code, we can't rely on that as being, meeting one of the
I
required
capiche.
items. It's,
But in essence, sans these escalators, there's 4 stairs that you just go down.
Correct.
Plus you can go down the escalators if they're turned off. Okay, great. And then you got elevators that the firemen can come up in, right? Because they got the key and they're special.
It's you for coming down.
Okay. It's all gonna be sprinklered and blah, blah, blah. Masonry non-combustible except for the seats. Carpeting, all that fun stuff. Okay, go ahead. You'll have Ansel units wherever. We need those anywhere? Are you gonna fry anything in this place?
Yes.
All right, so you'll have Ansel 300s and blah, blah, blah. Right, chief?
I'm
Okay.
not watching him, you're talking, I'm watching.
Well, I'm just,
I know.
Grace, okay, fine.
There will be fried product in there, and we actually use ventless equipment. But if the code requires us to use something different, we'll do that. But in all of our, we serve fried foods in 250 locations around the country.
What do you do, just microwave it?
No, they're actually a
fryer?
full fryer. Yep.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's good technology.
All right, so how do you,
It's covered.
if it goes bad, how do you put it out?
When you say goes bad, it has its own protective
Oh, it's got
Ansel.
the
It's self-contained. It's got a self-contained Ansel
Yeah, all right,
system.
fine.
Yep.
Okay. Can you live with that, chief? Okay.
Thanks.
All right.
This is, I've got just a couple renderings of either locations. This particular location's in Georgia. It's under construction. And what it's designed to do is just kind of give you some sense for the space. And then if you look all the way to the back, to your, I guess to your right, that's where the MacGuffin's bar would sit. So that gives you some sense just some sense for the space. We haven't got to that particular point where final drawings are done, but this gives you some sense. And this is in just outside of Boston, in Assembly Row, very similar. Once again, it kind of gives you a sense for the space and where the bar would be placed in the lobby area. And they're both about the same size as the space that we plan on partnering with Westfield. But it gives you some sense for the size of the bar and the space. Then finally, I guess my closing comments is that the consumer continues to change, and we have to be able to change with them. I believe our investment in this is going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $6 million as AMC. We continue to, I think, push the envelope in a lot of interesting things. Hopefully you've seen some of those tonight. And when it comes to alcohol, we have a wonderful track record. So we understand the importance of alcohol, more specifically that to serve alcohol is a privilege, very much like a driver's license. And
trust me, we'll help you with the alcohol.
Appreciate it. So that's...
No, I'm just talking about monitoring, the activities of... Here, give me that.
We would appreciate both. Yeah. We appreciate the
Trust
support.
me, you'll get help from our sworns.
Great.
And our...
Oh, yes, our sworns.
Actually, we're going to say we'll help you with the alcohol.
Yeah, whatever. I'm just trying to plug this thing. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm done unless there's other questions from staff or from Chief.
All right, so we have a signed lease. Is that accurate?
We do not have a signed lease yet.
Okay, great.
Working on it.
Okay, that's encouraging. All right, I'm happy to hear that. Okay, but we're getting closer.
Yes.
All right. Can you sign the lease?
I cannot.
Whoa.
Where's that guy? No.
Yeah, is that guy in the room tonight?
Yeah, he's not here.
Well, it might be a lady.
Okay.
too, so-
I don't really care, I mean, whoever can do it. Does he live in this country?
Who's that?
Who can sign the lease?
Yes, he does.
He does? Okay, fine. Yeah.
Is that here?
Yeah.
We're actually just on the phone with AMC this afternoon going through the last two issues. So
Yeah,
we
okay.
are almost there.
Okay, all right, whatever. I feel like...
No, it's been a long time coming. It's taken us.
I don't
a long
even
time
feel
to
like
get to
I'm
this
in
point.
the poker game. I think I'm part of the, the poker. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm just watching, I guess. Okay, now what? The signs, is that really what we need to go to? Okay.
right.
Yeah, thank you. Who's representing anybody on the signs? Who's the sign expert here? Is there a sign guy here?
No sign guy.
There's nobody? Okay.
Okay, let's find the signs.
Before we get into signs, is there any are there any questions for Dave and Buster's? We're okay with
No, because it's immaterial.
Is there-
In
you know-
all honesty, shit. I mean, I'm going to be as crass as possible, because I've heard this too much. I mean, if AMC's in, then everything should be hunky-dory. And we'll try to work our way through this. Unless Dave and Buster's wants to say they're coming to come hell or high water, and their mouthpieces here. You want to say that, Hal? No, I didn't think so. Okay, fine. Let's go to the parent, I got to go watch the Hawks here. Come on, let's pick up the pace here,
I killed myself getting here. You want to go home?
Okay, we'll get straight to the signs here.
Yeah, no, I didn't mean to be.
What's the score? Anybody know? Huh? Okay, what period? Second?
Oh, I was going to say
All right.
close.
Yeah, it's probably the
Or
second,
just in the
yeah.
first period, and
All
it was
right. How did the Vernon Hills girls basketball team do? Do we know?
Yeah.
Tom should know.
Uh-huh.
We'll find out.
I'm gonna call Greg Smith. He'll tell me. Are you guys ready?
I'm trying to find the.
Yes.
Oh, there he is.
And who's this is John Genovese.
Yes.
You're the sign expert?
I'm an expert in everything.
Okay, well, that's good. Well, at least we got the right guy here.
5 years of architectural training.
Okay.
On the signs, what you have up on the screen is, I think, the sign that obviously is was the subject of conversation at the last meeting. And if I just step back a second, I know you're using a sports analogy, so I'll use a similar one. I mean, it's March Madness. You know, we're using this as an akin to bringing our A game. And by that, I mean the tenants that we're bringing here, obviously AMC, you've heard of Dave & Buster's. We have a number of restaurants that we're talking to. We're all about bringing more entertainment to the mall. That's what we need here. That's what we need to basically be the game changer at this property. And with that, we're obviously doing a lot of improvements to the property. If you take from those tenants, what we're doing is some substantial improvements to all of the entrances to the property. So not only do we have those tenants, but you're gonna see as you walk to the mall, those entrances, that we've made a change. We then wanna make that in our customer's mind and basically bring it to the curb. So as people are driving by this property, we want them to see every single day that they go by that here's a property that's changed. We have these great entertainment venues. We also have great retailers. We want it to be in the front of their mind, especially in today's world. Everybody can go shopping on the internet and buy stuff. That's great. We want this great atmosphere, this great environment that people are gonna come time and time again.
John, would you be able to obviously advertise any and all stores in the mall itself to let people know what's truly in the building?
Yeah, we would use that for retailers. We would use that obviously for entertainment, for movies, for restaurants that are here, also for events that are going on like the Easter Bunny, for Santa Claus, things of that nature. So it's all part of.
Would there be, like the bottom portion of the, the sign, the picture we're seeing, would those be the permanent names there, basically the anchors in the theater?
Yes,
Okay.
they would want.
What does that one say, mini anchor?
That would be Dave & Buster's.
That would be, yeah, we just put it up in there as a generic.
Oh, so that'd be Dave &
Yeah.
Buster's, okay.
Dave & Buster's.
And I would just say AMC.
Correct.
Yes.
Cinemas.
And then yes, it would just say
Yeah.
AMC, actually I think is
So-
what they prefer.
That whole portion of the sign will be what, like how many feet? I can't, but, you know what I mean?
Probably
Just the
about-
names.
9 feet.
What is it?
2 foot 10.
2 foot 10, huh?
Well, each one, so those are almost 9 feet high.
Yeah, it's 9 for the 6 names.
Yes, 9 feet.
Okay, 9 feet high, and then the sign itself with the, which is the electronic portion, that's
17
what?
by 17.
Okay, and then the whole thing is how tall?
48 feet tall.
Okay. All right, what's the tallest, any kind of monuments we have, like at the old-fashioned square? How tall are those?
Hawthorne Fashion Square is 25 feet tall. River Tree is 24 feet tall. Those are our tallest signs in the village.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, and the acreage of those, like, power centers is what? For River Tree and then,
Hawthorne Square is 216,000 square.
I know, but how many acres is it? Is it 20?
I don't have the acreage.
And then what?
I have the size of the
No,
retail.
wait, their whole site is how many acres? Does anybody know that?
100 acres.
How many?
100.
Okay, so neither of those two centers combined are 100 acres.
Oh, correct, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you want 2 of these signs?
Yes.
One on 60 and one on Milwaukee?
Correct.
Okay.
And again, it's just,
But what's council's chief concern here? Just advertising off-site things? I mean, what's the make or break thing here?
On-premise, off-premise. If there's a store, if there's a product that's being sold, it can be deemed to be on-premise. But as long as, if you start selling off-premise, something that's not sold
You mean like
on-premise.
a car dealer?
Yeah.
The car dealers advertising?
Right.
Located in this
Okay.
Now, so now they bring in a Cadillac into the middle of the mall, and so now they advertise Cadillac. Now, if they're selling Cadillacs out of the mall, you could say
Oh, they're
that's
not gonna do
on-premise.
that, okay.
But I don't think bringing the Cadillac in just to, as a ruse to get an advertisement for Cadillac is going to do it. But there's a total difference between off-premise and on-premise. And once the village allows off-premise, it has to allow it throughout the village. You can't just leave it in one spot. You're opening the door everywhere.
Okay. Well, so what's your response to that?
Look, this sign is very important for us. If your concern is off-premise, we're willing to give up on off-premise and just
Okay.
make it on-premise advertising.
Yeah.
Although we would like to, look, if
you got a special event.
Special event, right. But if we are doing, I guess I would draw the distinction, if we are doing a Cadillac display and they are renting space from us, and we would like to be able to do that on the sign, I would consider that on-site versus off-site, but I know you're shaking your head there. I mean,
No,
if it's-
okay, is there a way to, I guess, craft the agreement to address that? To where,
Businesses located in them.
I was talking to the manager. I apologize. So I missed the issue that you were addressing.
I actually brought up your example, and I just said, we're willing to give up on the off-site, that's fine. But if we have, look, we're constantly bringing things into the mall, so you brought up Cadillac, I brought that up as an example. So if we're doing something for a Cadillac display in the mall, yeah, we're not selling cars. They may actually sell cars if somebody comes and sees something and go buy it at the dealership. So I guess you can do a nexus that way, but we would like to be able, in that particular case, to be able to have the advertising on this sign. I mean, you brought up the example, I think it's a great example.
well, okay, what if they're dealing not necessarily with, wild, Cadillac or whatever. It's Cadillac, part of General Motors.
Well,
and so you're not trying to sell a car that's in close proximity to the mall and a dealer sponsoring it, and coming into.
We're going to get, parsing every example differently, and we probably will come up with 7 different interpretations of whether or not they're selling cars out of the mall.
Oh, they're not. Okay, fine. Well, that's easy enough to trace, Bob.
Right, but if they,
I mean, if they start, are they going to get a commission from Cadillac?
Right.
I mean, you can disclose what the agreement is to us. Between Cadillac and the mall operator.
They won't get a sale.
There's not going to be a sale there,
Well, that's the issue, because if you're not going to have a sale there, then it may be deemed to be off-premise. Now the village has opened its doors for off-premise throughout the village. That's the danger of where you.
Okay, so this isn't as simple as just granting them a variance.
What kind of variance?
It's not as simple as what? I missed the term.
A variance?
No, because once you.
So this is kind of like having an outdoor sign on the tollways, which is that kind of the best way to look at it?
Yeah.
Really?
So even if they're just,
let me be clear. The sign they're proposing, if they're just advertising what is in the mall, that is on premise, and it doesn't open the door to off premise.
Right.
So let's say.
Oh wait, if they're going to have like exhibits with 3 different car manufacturers in there, can they tell people?
could they have this weekend come see, Cadillac display
Yeah, they're going to get the new Corvette.
on display? They're not selling it, and they're not advertising the auto dealer down the street that is selling it.
We're going to have to look at each one as they come. I mean, they're not selling cars out of the mall, so.
Okay, there's no town in America that has a model ordinance that addresses this?
The division, the issue that we're dealing with is off-premise and on-premise. The village can make the decision to
Yeah.
allow off-premise signs throughout the village, but what I'm saying is, we have to be careful here that we're not making that decision without you knowing you're making that decision.
But see, I would,
It doesn't bear on whether the sign goes there or not. It only bears on what can be advertised on it.
but you really think a court would say that advertising a Cadillac display in the mall then opens the door for a car dealership in some other town to advertise?
Well, the question, the question in my opinion is, it's financially lucrative to have off-premise advertising. And that's a different money-making venture, not a bad one, but a different money-making venture than just advertising businesses and uses in the center. So.
But that's a use in the center, displaying stuff. That's why I'm saying, what I'm asking is, does that keep the lid on the box? That's all I care about.
I can't tell you that. We would certainly argue if the board says that, the carnival's coming, and they're going to advertise the carnival. Well, I would say because the carnival's going to be there, yes. And Tom, you're suggesting, well, the Cadillac's going to be there. All I'm saying is we're getting in an iffy area. Somebody else who wants to have off-premise advertising, who thinks this is off-premise advertising, is going to be the entity that makes problems for us, if at all.
Well,
wait,
can't they
wait,
sign
wait,
an agreement and say they're
this-
never going to do that?
Well, haven't they taken this off the table? I don't know why we're arguing to give them something that they are more than willing.
No, he said he wants to be able to do stuff that's in the mall.
No, yeah, all right, from the general of activities, but not a specific branding. So if there's an auto show in the mall.
An event.
Right.
There's an event. That's different.
Not advertising a specific brand or whatever. I think we can agree with
That's
that.
what I want to find out, what keeps the box closed.
And I think we posed, John and I posed these questions to Bob, because obviously there's a lot, they probably won't advertise Regal Cinemas on that
Right.
sign. Excuse me, but think about it, in the mall, how many items, M&Ms, Tide detergent, you go on,
Right.
Nike.
Needs to
hundreds
be-
of products
Someone
are
that's
sold
under
somewhere
contract with
there.
the mall, they can advertise. So I'm assuming that when you have any kind of exposition in your corridors there, you have some type of a contract with them, because I guarantee you guys have indemnified each other and.
Building insurance, yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
So therefore, that is within the mall. M&M's does not have a contract. So I think if we keep it on a contractual basis, we have a reasonable level.
He's not saying that
Contractual
If you have a travel agency in the mall,
Right.
doesn't mean you can advertise
Carnival.
airline.
Right,
Right. A specific.
right.
Well, where do you where do you have these signs in place anywhere in the country? You got something,
Got what it,
you must have them somewhere, right?
Orchard, don't you?
In the world?
We do have a couple of signs throughout the country. We're putting in more of them. I'd have to go back. I'd have to look at our portfolio to tell the exact locations. I know we.
Yeah, I mean,
have
what would we do if all of a sudden CDW started like hawking, one of their products on the sign instead of birthdays? You know what I mean? Yeah, we got a sale on all Apple products the next week. I don't know what they sell in there. I mean, or some other, line of.
For example, and I don't know if this is going to help or hurt the analysis. There's a building in Chicago that Coca-Cola stored cases of Coke in this. It was a shed. And then they argued to the city of Chicago that it was an on-premise advertising sign because they had Coke inside.
Their trucks were on the premises.
No, they weren't. They just stored a couple of
Well,
cases of
eventually-
Coca-Cola.
They had
I don't
skids
mean-
of Coke sitting in.
They were old cases of Coca-Cola. But so that made the argument. But if we see there's stores in the mall that sell Nike shoes, if we just see an advertisement for Nike, is that what you're going to want to see? Or are you going to want to advertise the store that you can get a Nike in? And
Store, not the.
it may be just a discussion offline with them to clarify the limitations of what the expectations are. Because
in other
you
words,
can get-
you're going to have Tiger Woods come on, and he's advertising. You know, it's like a TV commercial that you see on TV, selling the latest driver or shoes or the ball.
No.
I think what you would
No, I
see
No, I
is you would,
understand.
let's say there's a picture of Tiger Woods with a new driver. You'd probably see some sort of tagline, "Get it at such and such sports in the mall." That's
Okay, is that good or bad?
That's good.
Well, you'd have to have some sort of
Somebody's gonna
tagline
wreck
like
the car
that.
Yeah,
trying to
okay.
watch Tiger Woods swing the putter. Come on.
But hopefully,
that on there.
I don't think they're.
Well, then there's got to be an agreement language that we could all settle in on.
It's a,
I can't,
just,
just don't put the sign up.
All I was going to say is, for the record, Rob Gamreth with Quarles and Brady. I don't want to forestall the policy discussion, but we'd be happy to work with your council on some language for you to come back and consider as part of the ordinance, if you're comfortable generally with everything else.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm-
and you've already agreed to
How horrible.
temper
We're opening.
who you would allow advertised there for something that truly isn't a part of the mall itself. Yeah. All right, I don't have a problem with it. Trustee Schultz?
I guess the question really is, both this issue for off-premise and the height of the sign, both those have been somewhat not decided, but significant recommendations have been made by planning and zoning by their votes, which were significant, 0-5.
Yeah.
So that's going to require, for us to overturn either of those, is going to require a supermajority. What?
Whoa. You sure about that?
I don't know. That's why.
It's advisory.
Well, no. The question is
It's
to
all
the council.
advisory. All these guys,
No.
they're both
That's
those
why my
committees,
question is to
they're
council.
advisory.
What is the vote required by this
No.
board?
On what?
It's a majority.
If we were to overturn and allow these two variances as requested that were rejected by P and Z, what is
Those are
required?
advisory committees.
I don't believe so.
I'll look at the village code, but
Depends
if,
on-
in some instances, it does require the supermajority, it'd be 5 votes instead of 4, but we have to look at the code. Sometimes it's only limited to the variances.
Right.
All right, but in this particular case,
I don't think
the
this is.
two, does that make it?
I'm gonna
Because
check the
these are,
code.
okay. Okay, so then
Well,
moving on, we've also got
Oh, wait a minute.
a 48-foot tall or,
It is a variance to the sign ordinance.
yeah,
Two signs. Two signs,
Correct.
yeah, that are 48 feet. It's a 5-story building.
I was just bringing this up just to, while they're looking up, if you go down Milwaukee Road, is Aptekissick and Milwaukee Road, they have the sign there. And that sign, I believe, is somewhere about 25 to maybe 30 feet.
It's somewhere between 25 and 30 feet, estimating the height.
Where, in Lincolnshire?
Yes, the one on Lincolnshire, it's on the west side of the
Aptekissick
road.
and what?
It's Aptekissick, Milwaukee. It's on
City
the
place.
southwest corner.
Yeah.
So to give
So?
you I'm just giving you an idea of size.
So how big is it?
It's 25 to 30.
Well, we
feet
already
high.
got pylon signs like that in town.
No, this is a.
No, but this is a message sign.
It's a
Okay,
message
yeah, I
sign.
know where it's at.
It's in front of a two-story
Okay.
building. It's probably about as tall as the
Going with what
buildings,
Mike,
yeah.
Did you know exactly how big it was?
No, all I can do is.
But it's not a
all I can do
100
is
plus
estimate the height.
acre
I didn't
site
get the
either.
exact
It's like about what? maybe 10 acres at the most down there
It
at that
doesn't
corner.
change the size of the sign.
No, no,
matter
yeah,
what
well, no, it
size the
doesn't in
acreage is.
proximity, it does, Barb.
No, it doesn't.
Sure it does.
No.
I mean, these
If
buildings
you're
are
5 foot
set,
tall in the morning, or standing over there, you're still 5 foot tall if you walk over there.
whatever, but it's immaterial. From a standpoint of the setbacks of these buildings, I mean, how far is like the Sears setback from the road? How far is Penny's? How far is Macy's? How far is, you know, Carson's? 1,000 feet?
It's close to 1,000 feet, yeah.
About 1,000 feet.
Let me get a diagram here.
You know, I mean, it's kind of like, you know, the stores, the Steinhoffels, the Home Depot, all that. That was 800 feet, I think, 800 feet.
It
So I would
is,
think these are every bit
700
as much,
700
except these are good-sized buildings, and they're higher even to start with than, you know, like the center over, you know, where Home Depot is and Steinhoffels and Ashley Furniture. And that drops probably significantly, but,
You can't see those buildings.
yeah. Okay, Trustee Cook.
Well, he has your
Of the
answer.
two, yeah, go ahead, if council has an answer for us.
There we go.
With regard to the signs, it is 4 of 6. So it's 4 of 6 trustees, and the mayor's vote does not count towards that 4.
To overturn?
Well,
Or
yes.
to pass?
Okay.
Well, it's the same as, it's not really a supermajority. It's 4 of 6 to pass it, it's whether the P and Z says yes or no. So it's not an elevated vote.
There are some things that it is, though.
Well, if there's an objection from a neighbor, then it's 5 of 6. This is, we're coming back to you with a whole revision on the votes in zoning. But right now, it's 4 of 6 for special uses and variations when the P and Z says no. It's 4 of 7 if it's a rezoning.
Okay.
But
What is this?
Pardon me, that's the current code right now.
It's signage and special use.
So for signs, whether it's a special use or a variation, and we have both in this instance.
So when there's only 6 of us here,
We need 4 of 6 trustees. Your vote does not count with regard to this special use and variation aspect.
It doesn't say of the sitting board, it says trustees, so therefore.
Right.
I gotta change that.
With
No, I mean, you know, I mean, seriously, I mean, if we don't have somebody here,
We have a proposal that we're
Yeah.
bringing back to you. We had this discussion
Yeah.
before.
Well,
We're
with-
still,
With regard to the sign, my only concern
I don't
still
remember.
remains the north face of the one on Milwaukee Avenue, because you have residential so close.
Yep, I,
Because that's,
That's
you know,
almost on the
600,
corner.
700 feet maximum till your residential from the one on,
See this?
you could even go back to the one you had with
see
the,
this
with
here.
with
With
the
the
distances, that would probably help you.
I thought we were going
This,
before.
this one right
give me
here.
a picture with the.
No, that
the-
one doesn't help me at all. The
the
one which you
distance.
had, the one before it you had the distances, well,
Yeah,
You have
put
the-
the distance on it.
Where we had the distance.
Let's all go to the moon.
because that gives you a proximity,
To
it gives you
residential.
something to
There we
measure your
go.
distances,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Go.
there you had it.
No, the one
back.
before.
back.
The special little triangle one.
Yeah.
To which one?
There,
That
right
right
there.
there.
Based on your measurements there, you can see
Look at
that
this from the
your
house, it's
sign
1,000 feet.
would be maybe 700, 800 feet from a multi-story residential building with absolutely nothing blocking it.
What?
He's talking.
I'm concerned about that north face, the hours that north face would operate.
This one here. That's where the.
I mean, and of the other three, the south face of that
All the residents. right
sign
here.
and the one on 60 are really not that much of a concern.
And right there.
But I am a bit concerned about what we can do to protect the residential just north of that sign on Milwaukee.
That's where.
We did a lighting study, and it really, the foot candle that this emits
That's a big sign.
is minimal, and we could show it to you. It's on page,
And here is. right here.
Where's the other, what's the form?
Tom, I.
page 21 of the packet,
Right, it's right by Hamlin and the backside.
Well, it's about 700
and then 22.
feet or 800 feet.
Right,
Here, you wanna.
Which page, sir?
Page 22 of your packet.
22.
Okay.
Yeah, these
24.
diagrams.
And if you look at the diagram on the left, on the bottom side, I'll get to this on the screen too.
I see.
We did a lighting study, and you can tell the outermost reach is less than a 1-foot candle. And that photo I showed you earlier was really kind of from that ring road perspective. What happens is the sign, even from that distance, at 700 feet, is really small.
Daytime or nighttime?
This would be still nighttime.
Because light can be seen further at night than it can be in day. I can't see your flashlight in the middle of the day, but I could be a block away from you and see it at night.
Yeah, the foot candle measurements won't change.
Well, I know, foot candle won't change, but my ability to, if you and I are standing on the street and you're a block away with a flashlight at noon, I'm not going to see that flashlight. But at 12 o'clock at night, I am going to see that flashlight. So I don't care what the foot candles are. Yeah. Yeah. You're right, the foot candle hasn't changed. My visual has.
2 on a match.
And that's the photo I was talking to you about. That's inside the ring, the inner ring road, looking at the sign superimposed. So further back from that is really the residential areas. I think that you can tell as it is right there, the sign is a lot smaller than one would imagine at 48 feet. That's because that whole linear length between Milwaukee and Sychta all the way to this ring road is about 1,600 lineal feet. That's how the distance is. So, and then on the flip side, on Sychta, we have about 2,600 lineal feet. So when we're talking about relativity, we're talking about 48-foot sign on a 2,600 square foot lineal foot.
But you're only 700 or 800 from residential.
On this particular one, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, this is Sears. Yeah, it's got to be over there.
Yeah, because at night, the foot candles on your car headlights are the same as they are in the day, but they don't illuminate much in front of you during the day.
Just to that point, Trustee Cook, one thing we do, well, there's two things actually. First thing, I think the word you're looking for is contrast. I mean, obviously the contrast will be much higher at night than it is during the day, so your point is definitely well taken. What we do to mitigate that is these signs have photovoltaics on them, and they actually dim at night, so they do not run at the same brightness day as night. And that's what we do to help mitigate that
You ever
issue.
turn them off?
After hours, I'm sure we do. I couldn't.
That was one of the other things I was looking at, especially the one in Milwaukee. If we could, because we run into any residential complaints or anything like that, wind up with some kind of hours on that one, that would be.
Well, that'd be on the ring road,
yeah.
right?
No, it'd be on. It's on Milwaukee, but it
what?
faces.
Amlin.
It's Milwaukee at about the entrance midway by
Denny's.
Denny's.
I mean, this one we're looking at.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Correct. That's the one on Milwaukee.
Yeah.
And if you would look at
But this is internalized. This one, see, what this picture here is the ring road. What you're saying is the sign itself, it'll be actually on Milwaukee.
On Milwaukee, facing north-south at about
And it'll
Denny's.
be, okay, how far from Amley?
I'm guessing based on his sign.
700 feet?
700-800 tops.
Right.
Just using his, dimensions there, guessing.
If I may add, on page 22, the same page on the lower right-hand side,
Well,
a little blurb about
Okay,
the.
what actually shows this sign to Trustee Cook? What drawing shows us that?
Page 24.
Is it page 24?
24 will show you the two signs that
All
are.
right, so the sign in question that we're talking about right now is which sign?
SP 1.02.
Yeah, SP 1.02.
Right here.
The purple one
Okay.
to the right of the page,
Okay,
right at the Denny's entrance.
that's pretty far from Denny's,
That's
holy
Denny's, so
Christ. you know.
Amlings, this is
Yeah,
Ring
but you're
Road.
talking about from Amlin.
Amlings is right there.
Yeah, well, it's still 700-800 feet.
And I believe we have a grade change here too, so this is lower.
Yeah, well, Amley, Is there actual, well, here's the sign.
Sign's right here.
Yeah, it's 800, it's the better part of 1,000.
No, the sign's right here. It's green, right there.
If it's the purple one, Tom, it's a lot further than 700 feet then.
The purple one.
It's the purple one, not the green one, right?
Correct.
Purple one,
By
correct.
the access next to Denny's.
Yeah.
All right, so what, is there, what sign would be the green one? Is that just a
That's a low.
a monument sign?
This green one is right up here. It's what we decided to do, I think I mentioned this before, is the restaurants always want to be on the pylon, and we just don't have enough.
Yeah, that's
room.
not a problem.
So this is no electronic, this is just,
SP 102 green.
How big is it? How tall is it?
Right.
this is 16 and a half feet.
Okay, that's, yeah. So you're saying, well, this is, from this So Denny's is
it's
right
fine.
across the street.
I mean, as far
From
as visitor
Denny's
goes.
to Amley is how many feet?
Probably 700 or 800, I'm
Oh, it's
guessing.
more than that. Oh, it's,
Really that much?
yeah,
Go around the
sure.
curve
Not
road.
if you use their,
Oh,
The
yeah.
curve road it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, well,
using his 1,300. it
all right.
was
Oh, it's traffic.
Your Honor.
Less than 1,000.
So there's two purple signs,
Right.
right?
Correct.
One
Right.
on- One on
Correct.
Okay.
60th South, right in the middle.
Okay. Hey, okay, what's the compromise? You're at 48, we got some 25, do you want to go 39?
40.
You know what I mean, or 40, you know? You know,
We actually looked at the height, and I think we could adjust it down to 42 from 48.
48 to
And actually, everything shrinks down, so the
Base.
LED goes from 17 by 17 to 14 by 14, so it's actually 30% smaller.
Question for Mr. Calmer. You were at the planning and zoning. What level did they feel a comfort with in abstract discussion?
Well, we suggested as a part of the conversation if there was an alternative, and I think the Plan Commission was willing to consider an alternative. I didn't get a sense that the Commission was willing to go along with the LED panel or the off-premise signage, as you can see with the vote. And so we had some conversation about could you put a changeable copy sign on there that would be, take the sign off, put the sign on, take the sign off, and you could advertise with that type of panel on that location. But so I think there was some willingness, or my sense was a willingness to reduce the height and kind of work with it, but I didn't get a sense that the LED panel worked for them at all.
All right, but what about the height?
Height, no way.
Well, no. What?
There was no number given. I mean, I threw out the idea of could we do 30, 35 feet or something like that. And I think there was a general recognition. They just never agreed upon a number per se.
Well,
And
I guess, what they're looking for really is 100% variation.
Right.
If you're thinking about doubling the height.
Right.
So if it was 50%, that would be 36 feet. Is that?
I think that would be doable based on the conversation that the commission, at least started to enter into. Again, we threw out some ideas or thoughts here. The petitioner didn't react. They wanted to stay fixed on the 48 feet. So.
But you're saying you would now go to 42.
Yeah, we didn't really
Right.
get into that discussion at that time. We weren't really prepared to.
Okay.
We've gone back after that
And-
meeting and looked at it, and actually we'll call up on the screen. We actually did study it and reduced it to 42.
42 and the LED is 14.
42. It actually reduces, if you look at the white.
Let me,
Right.
which one?
What page?
You're at
We're actually
22.
calling it, it's not in here, we have it on a,
We have hard copies.
oh, we do, okay. We,
Your Honor, as a part of this, and maybe this is an appropriate time to interject this, we've been talking about the height of the. We've been talking about the height of the sign in this instance, but the question winds up being is, why do you need a higher sign? And that was one of the things that was pointed out, why? I mean, 48 versus 42 versus 24. So I guess that's part of the conversation that ought to at least there ought to be some kind of consideration that goes along with that. I mean, the three issues are height and why do you need it? The LED panel, why? And the on versus off-premise advertising, I think we've had a good explanation or exploration of that and the like. But
Why the height?
why the height? Sheer size of the property. We're 100 acres, 1.3 million square feet. We need something that is commensurate with the size of the property, or it's just not going to be seen by people as they go by. I mean, you drive by today, we drove by the mall, you look at 25-foot high signs, they're not really that visible in our opinion. I mean, again, we're really trying to change the game here, so we want something that is visible, so we are pushing the envelope, okay?
Yeah,
but,
and with that said, I'm kind of, hoping that obviously at some point going forward when this, this project's done, what's going to happen maybe in the future too, as far as, the use of some of your larger outlets there, such as, the Sears. Is that their property out the 45 in the Ring Road?
It is, and look, from that perspective, great question. I mean, by putting the entertainment in there with AMC, Dave & Buster's, and the restaurants, we're doing something we don't have today.
Right.
We're adding a component that's great. We think it's going to obviously drive more customers.
Sure.
It's also going to give us the ability to improve our retail mix.
Right.
Okay, and I think that, look, if we have the opportunity in the future with respect to, those larger boxes, I mean, we'll certainly look and see if there's an opportunity to, again, enhance the mix. Everything we're doing here is enhancing our offerings.
The thing that's unique here, it is an indoor mall. It's not like going to Old Orchard where I can drive around there, which I've done. Okay, there's Blooming. You see the anchors you see, but don't get me wrong, you can even see, the other stores in there because, they're out there. Right. It's an outdoor mall, you know what I mean? And this is indoor, so who the hell knows what's inside this mall when you come right down to it? I mean, so, it's kind of like, okay, again, okay, everybody's got to know there's a Sears, there's a Carson's, there's a Penny's, and there's a Macy's. And maybe there's a Barnes & Noble. Then what else is in there? I don't know, I mean.
But they're not even gonna be on the sign.
But they can be on this side.
On the LED.
That's what you could use the LED for.
Yeah, we obviously live in a digital world, and obviously having that change means that we can, obviously subject to whatever requirements on how often those ads change, relative to traffic. I mean, we can change it on a regular basis. That's the other thing. So we can constantly.
But you're going to have some monument signs too. They're going to have, like you said, the restaurants.
Yeah. But this gives us the opportunity to constantly change and adapt our message accordingly, right? I mean, that's the best.
Right.
The best thing. These are very expensive signs.
Sure.
Okay, so obviously the advertising part of it is a concern to us. I mean, being, honest. I mean, it helps pay for the sign. If we were to pay for the sign ourselves just to do advertising for events, it wouldn't make economic sense, right? So to be able to have that advertising helps pay for the sign in the first place. To be able to have us do all the events and everything that we want to advertise in the mall. So
it's
work
like,
together.
I mean, if you bring in some stores that exist in another town right now because this becomes that much more attractive, wouldn't you want to let people know you got, this specialty clothing store, this specialty shoe store, or, some other store that people have been like clamoring for.
Well,
in the mall itself. So
But I'll go back to the comment though. We are in a digital society, and if you go to Google Maps or you search various things, or any of the shopping apps that you find, you're going to find them listed at Westfield.
Yeah.
And you can go to Google Maps and find Westfield shown, and you can find different products and stores that are located on there. So, that is part of this. And is the shopping character, or is the shopper going to be swayed to come into the mall because there's a 42 or 48-foot sign in front of it? I don't know.
Well, what if it says,
The answer is, I can tell you yes, because
what if
we're
there's
going to.
a 40% off on Guess jeans or something? At some of the clothing stores or something.
But the reason why those
They're
apps
gonna
are so
advertise that big
successful.
time, not just the sign.
Yeah, but it won't hurt.
The reason why those social media apps are so successful is they're constantly changing. Okay, that's why retailers are looking at Facebook, Instagram, all those. They constantly change, and they can change it like this. The same thing is true of this sign. It allows us to change instantaneously our message. So what's happening out there in the digital world, we can do here.
I don't think we're against the digital sign or the LED sign. we're concerned about the overall size of the sign. And I think
I
that's
understand.
right where P&Z was coming from. This board has always projected the size of our signs, and I'm sure that's what they were upholding, is our concern, and it has been our concern over many, many years about the
Right.
sizes. I certainly think you've got a great product here and what you're trying to do at the mall. Don't get me wrong, that's wonderful. But 48 feet, I mean, that sign's 48 feet, but yet your pylon sign is 42 feet. Do you really need that height? I really don't think so.
I believe at the time frame when we discussed this before, I thought it was only one large sign.
No, there's like
And the reason being is one of the reason for 48 feet is because of 60 coming from the east heading west, because there's a drop. You're coming uphill. Now that's what I believe was brought up at one time.
Right.
So
Well, does
I
any, I mean,
understand
can I pull the board? Does anybody have a problem if they go 42 feet?
No.
No.
If they went 39, get it under 40 feet, and we have a clear definition of on-premise only, this chair votes in favor. So it's under 40 feet and a clear definition of on-premise advertising.
And you know how I feel about signs. But I think, if we say under 40 feet, you're going to say 39.9, 39 feet,
Yeah.
11 inches.
39 feet, 11 and 7/8 inches. Just to get it,
Under the 40.
yeah. Now, I understand the scales and I understand, but I still think 40 feet is still 15 feet bigger than anything else we've ever
We
put up.
can make that work.
Okay.
You can make it work.
39, 11 and 7/8.
Okay.
11 and 3/4.
Then this chair votes yes on both those options, provided we get the good clarification on on-premise only.
A suggestion, would you want Bob, would you want Bob to go through and, reflect on a number of these issues that have been brought up?
Yes.
The square footage of the other centers, the acreage, the height, on-site, off-site, what does it mean to, if Marketplace wants a 34-foot sign relative to this, and what's their, all those kind of issues, would you want him to reflect on? I think he's heard a lot of good conversation here, and maybe have him write something up, send it to you, and
Yeah, but I think
some
you've
thought?
also got solid ground to say it's a completely different situation
One of
based
the,
on size of the property and the mall itself. I would feel fairly comfortable.
one of the arguments, no doubt, that we'll hear from any other shopping center property is it's not so much relevant how big the property is that the sign is, because it's visible to traffic going down the road. And whether I'm on the north side or south side of 60 doesn't matter. How much land is behind the sign doesn't matter. The impact from the road is the impact from the road.
But I think the village president made an outstanding point when he kept repeating the fact that this is an indoor mall, and we need to try and get that level of advertising up to make people aware of good things that hopefully are going to come forward with the shops inside the mall. And that is a driver to me above and beyond any other that allows me in clear conscience to say, Marketplace, I think you've got enough because you're visible. You're 800 feet back, yes, but you're still visible.
Well, you got signage on the buildings too.
Right,
Right.
right. That's what I mean by
You
the
don't-
800 feet back,
You
right.
can't put the signage of everybody that's in the mall
On the
on the
outside
outside walls.
Nope.
To make it visible from the street.
Well, just to be clear, on the on-premise, off-premise aspect of this, my sense is that from the mayor's comments, well taken, it's an indoor mall, you don't know who's inside. If we're saying that the LED sign can advertise the stores inside the mall to give them visibility, I may be wrong, but I don't think that that's what Westfield is considering when they're getting the on-premise aspect of it, because I would suspect that they are thinking that if a store sells Nike, they can have a Nike ad with no tagline. They can just go to Nike
No,
and get a contract.
I don't believe that that's what I believe that you indicate just the opposite, that you are looking to advertise. Right, for the store itself. I mean, you can associate a brand with a store, but correct me if I'm wrong, because now you're just staring into blank space.
No. All I was going to say is I think that is the primary issue that we were suggesting we would try to clarify in conversations with council to come back with language to present to you for the ordinance.
Whoever you have an indemnification agreement with in the mall, that's who can advertise. That makes it pretty clear to me. So if you have a contractual agreement with a store or a kiosk or whatever, or an event that you have a contract, and I'm assuming that you have all kinds of cross indemnification with the folks from the carnival that were here earlier, then you can advertise that. But you don't have a cross agreement with Nike per se. You may have it with Foot Locker or Lids or whoever.
Let's see what they can work out with council.
Yeah.
No, let him go ahead and say
Yeah, I mean, we do have all those stores, but as you know, all those stores are a conglomeration of brands. So, I mean, that's the tough thing. I mean, you bring Nike up. I mean, you know, Nike is probably sold in, you know, a number of stores in the mall. So, I mean, we're trying to obviously promote a lifestyle, and to lifestyle, it's all about brands. So if those brands, you know, I guess it's put out on the table.
I'm not saying you can't advertise the brand, but it has to be in conjunction with someone that you have a contractual agreement with.
Okay, all right.
So that,
Available at.
yeah,
Okay.
yes.
So we got it.
I don't have a problem with a swoosh or,
5 stores listed.
But remember, you're virtually then opening it up to anything.
no,
You
it's a
stay- Well,
store.
think about it. Sears sells, I'm sure, Tide detergent, sells, you can go on and on and on. And I'm not saying it's good or bad, but just realize how many thousands of products are sold in the mall associated with some store in the mall. So you're, you know, pretty much opening it up. That's why I'm
It's
suggesting maybe
still going to
Bob
be
reflect-
Sears offering such and
Well,
such,
but
and
it
that all
could
has to be.
tied with Sears down here. Very possible.
Well, we're not going to have closure on this tonight.
Right. because
Well, what I
the
think we're
lawyers-
trying to get closure on is, okay, does everybody, we live with the LED sign? And can we live with it at 39, 11.5 inches?
I think we're going to have to, because this is our bread and butter. We talk about the importance of this
Right.
mall, and you're trying to make a lifestyle change, and I think we have to come into the next phase of what Hawthorne has been, which is now Westfield. And if we don't start to make some changes, those doors are going to close, and it's going to become an empty mall. So it's important, at least for me, to know that we're doing the right thing. I think you're trying to give us some good background to be able to do that, and it's important that we continue to make this mall thrive, where it's not gonna impact our community. It's important. And those other Fashion Square, all those places are gonna benefit from this, because when the shopper comes, they're gonna go, just like when they go to Woodfield, they go to the streets of Woodfield, they go to Nordstrom's off the rack or wherever, they're gonna come here and they're gonna benefit too. So I think what you're doing is good, and I may go against the P&Z's vote, because I know that we've got to make this viable. We got to do something, and what you brought in is good, but I want even more, and I think that's what's going to happen. So you can get support from this chair.
Trustee Williams.
Well, I agree with what Trustee Hebda said to a point. I absolutely know that we have to do something to bring life back to the mall. And as I stated earlier, I think you have a great product that you're trying to bring in. The signs I'm not happy with. Will I go along with it? With what Trustee Schultz presented, I probably will. But I'm not happy with the advertising on the sign. I don't want to be driving down 60 and seeing Tide advertise or Hanes underwear. Yeah, I don't want that. One thing to advertise a product and the product being the store and they are inside this mall. But to have all of that on the sign, I don't want to see that. I'm sorry, Bob, I'm making your life a little more hellish.
No,
but
this is that's
so
the
that you
purpose
know how at least one trustee feels, and that's me.
No, and that's good to know, but at the other side, that we've got, we don't have an ability to legislate what can be
And that's a concern.
on their sign.
Exactly.
So what we do is going to be a category solution, and what they do is going to be a specific event that we're not going to be able to have control over.
Certainly.
Not
Now,
that what
I do
they're
want
gonna
to
do
add
is
one
bad.
other thing. We were talking about, I'm getting feedback. We were talking earlier about the sign down at Aptekissick in Milwaukee. I pass that sign twice a day. 9 times out of 10, that light catches me in both directions every day. And I can honestly tell you that nothing on that sign has enticed me to go shopping at that mall. Nothing.
We can't buy anything there, Barbara, except food.
No, but even that I don't go there for. I mean, it just doesn't make me go shopping because that sign's there.
Yeah, so be it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so if I'm gonna present a motion, do you want me to present a motion, signs these conditions of approval emanating from P and Z, that we gotta change some of them?
Well, I guess, let me ask one separate question before we go to that. Where do you stand, where does the committee stand with regards to the movie theater and alcohol service? Because if we can get a sense there, I can kind of wrap this all up into one
Do
motion,
you
I
want
think,
the
to draft
entire
the order.
committee to answer that, or just?
Well, I mean, you know, I could pull the board. I mean, you know, Trustee Markart, can they serve liquor at the theater?
Yes.
Trustee Williams?
In the bar area.
Okay, you can't bring it into the theater.
Can't bring it into the
Okay.
theater.
I don't have a problem bringing it into the theater. Trustee Cook?
I'm with you.
You can bring it into the theater?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd say you could have it and bring it into the theater, yes.
Agreed. Have, purchase it
So-
and bring it into the theater, 1 drink per person.
Okay. So so I would suggest that the motion would be to direct the staff to prepare the necessary ordinance to grant approvals to the following. The special use permit for the plan unit development, which would allow the expansion and remodeling of the building and the variations as listed in Exhibit A. And I'll come back to the sign part of this, so.
Are you, Jan, are you actually on, here, let me get to this.
I'm in my.
Exhibit A, is it, okay, Exhibit A that's on our friendly magic box here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you're into, you're gonna change anything on variation 1 to 35 to 0 for the mall expansion?
No,
The
sir.
side yard setback, is that?
No change.
Okay, so where are you making a change? What?
Well, I'm not suggesting that there's any changes
Okay.
in the variations at all. Like I said, I'm going to come back to the sign part of this because I just need to have specificity with that.
So now you're going to recommended sign variations? On page 145?
No,
No.
no, sir. I'm not suggesting any changes to the variations at all. Exhibit A stays as is.
Okay.
So, and then Exhibit B,
Let me get to it.
Exhibit B is
Yeah.
the conditions of approval. I'm not suggesting any changes to that, again, at this point. With the exception of item number 11.
Yeah.
That would come out. That's the automatic changing copy sign, that would come out.
What would you replace it with?
Well, with an LED panel sign, you're allowing,
yeah.
allowing that. I mean, what we'll need to do is to work on the number of changes per minute or some kind of, and we'll come back to you with that.
And the total number of signs, because we also have the building signs, right?
Well,
The theater signs, I think was one.
no, the signs that are in the entitlement package would not change based on this. I mean, what you would be allowing would be just the two site media pylon signs. And again, I'll come back to those. And, like I said, I want to kind of wrap. Well, let me do that right now. What you would be approving as a part of this recommendation would be the two site media pylon signs at a height not to exceed 40 feet with an LED panel sign to be identified, and it'll be something that they'll have to work on the proportions with. That would, for both this sign and also the static media panel signs, there would be no off-premise advertising. And
But
what we,
there's the specific signs here, SP 1.102 and then SP 1.101, the two purple signs, right?
the two purple signs, yes.
Yes, SP1.
Okay.
But are we
and that-
also addressing the ones on the walls here at the cinema and other locations?
Cinema
What
was
about the pylons?
Yeah,
They're
there's no
42
changes
feet.
to those
Okay.
at all.
Mhm.
There's no changes to the signs on any other signs at all.
Well, I'm talking about the ones that are the LEDs here.
Those are not LEDs.
Okay.
Those are the static media panels. So those are just, they would change copy with panels.
Okay,
or
all right, that's
something.
not an electronically.
No,
Correct.
Stick though.
Sorry.
So with the two pylon signs, SP1, not to exceed 40 feet with the LED panel, no off-premise signs or advertising on the entire site outside the mall. The motion then would be to, with that inclusion, it would be to direct the staff to prepare the necessary ordinance to grant the special use permit for the PUD, allows the expansion and remodeling with the variations as in Exhibit A, and the conditions of approval in Exhibit B excluding number 11. And then also granting the special use permit to allow the entertainment use being the movie theater with alcohol service in the theater lobby and each theater and food service within the individual theaters, again, subject to the conditions. The third would be the special use permit to allow the restaurants serving alcoholic beverages in various locations, and that's identified on pages 18 through 20. Special use permit to allow the restaurant serving alcoholic beverages and containing an arcade with up to 200 electronic games and amusement devices at the locations as identified. Again, this is the Dave & Buster provision. Preliminary and final approval of the site and landscaping plans, again, consistent with the conditions of approval in the entitlement package. Preliminary and final approval of the architectural elevations and exterior finishes consistent with the entitlement package and subject to the conditions of approval. And then preliminary and final approval of the signage plans consistent with the entitlement package and including the site media panel or site media pylon signs as previously noted. And that would be the motion.
And you think
So
I'm going
moved.
to remember that?
Second.
I vote no, because I don't know what the hell he said.
Whatever he said.
No.
First and a second that agree with.
Oh,
what-
number 11's the key one.
Yeah, and that one's excluded.
Page 30.
Okay,
Yeah.
is there a motion
39,
so
11,
stated
7A.
for the record by Assistant Village Manager John Kilmer?
Yes,
Jim,
so moved.
There's
In
a
other words,
second?
our famous motion, what he said.
And I
That's
second.
about what it is. All right, is everybody clear with that?
No.
Okay, well, what, all right,
And item B, Exhibit B, I'm sorry, item 5. It says approval of new liquor license category to allow the theater to serve alcohol beverages within the lobby and theaters or with food.
yeah, well,
Just so you know, if that stays in like that, you're getting a no vote for me on everything,
Okay,
because that's what the motion included.
okay,
Okay? And it's not because of anything other than that, just so you know.
okay. Is everybody clear with that
I don't know
comment?
what Jeannie
Yes.
will do when she's
Okay.
around.
Well, is there a motion and a second?
Yes.
You got it.
Yes.
Roll call.
Trustee Markwart?
Aye.
Trustee Schultz?
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz? Trustee Williams?
No.
Trustee Hebda?
Aye.
Trustee Cook?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you for your time and patience.
Yeah, well, you know, get something signed, would you?
Have you got any names you can give us yet? Or is it all still?
Anything?
Or
I don't
when,
need
or
it.
when you're gonna have some names?
It's all right.
Soon.
Okay,
Yeah. You don't have to say anything.
okay.
It's all culminating still.
Because we'll still need some of this signage until Google Glasses are very common, but once they're common, you won't need any signage at all.
I looked at it here and it's just.
Because the glasses, have you ever seen those yet, the Google Glasses? Because you can walk into the store and it'll tell you where to find, it'll start giving you directions inside the store.
Okay. Are you going back? Okay.
I fly to Los Angeles
Okay.
Where are we at?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's it for a while, huh? We continue the process with staff.
Yes, yes.
All right.
To come back
And
with
that
ordinance.
last sign, that north face of that sign, keep an eye on
Finance and treasury.
And Mr. Patterson was the gentleman from AMC? Okay. Well, thanks for coming. Well, why, you're the first time we saw an AMC guy here, other than at the P and Z.
Ron was here last time, and I can.
Was it at the P and Z or at our board? Okay.
I can verify that they do card anybody, because I was in the Marina Del
Right.
Rey one a month ago,
Right.
and they carded me. I'm over 40.
Yeah, I can tell.
I like it.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
I'd like getting carded for you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
No, wait, are we?
We gotta go to closed session to do,
Well, it's,
litigation, threatened litigation.
and personnel. Now, do you want to, I mean, none of these things are.
We'll
you
be
know,
back here in 2 weeks.
Correct. We can bring them back.
All right, so there's nothing we
couple-
gotta do tonight?
I don't think so. Dave's thinking there is, but we can go ahead and do what was, well, on the one with the temporary? Oh, yeah, no, we can go ahead and do that. That was in there, it's budgeted, and, yeah, no, we can start the recruitment process, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a motion to adjourn committee of the whole and not go into closed session?
Second.
Okay, motion is second. Roll call quickly.
Trustee Schultz?
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz? Trustee Williams? Trustee Hebda?
Aye.
Trustee Cook?
Aye.
Trustee Markwart?
Michael Atkinson.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you and good night. Okay.